When drivers go into battle at the last great Coliseum, they know it's very likely going to be a night where contact is made, feathers are ruffled, cages are rattled, egos are bruised, and their tempers flare, and all of that is magnified by doing it under the lights. It's the NORA Retro Bristol Night Race here for their 2005 season. Welcome to Pit Stop TV and the virtual Bristol, Tennessee. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Burtis alongside, and as always, it is a pleasure to join you for coverage of the NORA Retro Cup Series and tonight for the NORA Bristol Night Race. Today's coverage is brought to you by Harpoon Designs, by NORA, and by Whiplash Creative. Zach, this is race 24. Of course, first on the docket, we'll talk about this legendary racetrack, and I went back and I watched the 2005 Bristol Night Race earlier today just to get an idea of what it was like again back in '05. I mean, I was watching NASCAR at the time, but I was 5 years old. It's been a while since those days, 21 years to be exact, and I gotta be honest with you, I was surprised at just how much better Bristol truly was at that time. A little more highly banked, a little more narrow. You had to run the bottom. Tonight, we're going to see these guys a little more all over the racetrack. The middle line looks really good so far. Maybe even the top if you can handle it. But I will say, these guys are predominantly running towards the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, and it's hard to just kind of wrap this in a perspective of classic Bristol. Because in retrospect, it's classic cars on Bristol, but this is not classic Bristol because we remember that in the mid-2000s, Bristol got reprofiled. So the bottom was not the dominant, lane anymore. A lot of guys started rotating to the top. Later on, NASCAR started putting PJ1 back on the bottom, which made it a little bit more bottom dominant once again, got us a little bit more towards classic Bristol, which is what reflects in the sim a little bit. But that high line and that middle line can still be very, very powerful for these guys.
And I'm excited to see how they do just in comparison to the spring race back in March. It was race 5 of the season, and we were still getting to know everybody and get an idea for what this series would actually be like, what this season would actually be like. And now we have a pretty good idea of how things are going to break down and at least the 10 drivers that will be fighting for the chase this season. And here you look at the standings, and boy, this is completely blown up even just since like Indianapolis a few weeks ago. We had more drivers in the battle for the chase, and now you're seeing gray point totals there on the right, or deficits I should say, and you're seeing more and more drivers completely out of the fight, and Donald Kite is no longer in this series, so don't expect him to come crawling back into the chase battle. Brady Motes out for an indefinite amount of time. Don't expect him to get back into it. Skavnicki and Hom, they're not officially eliminated, Zach, but I mean, they may as well be, and Jake Christenberry too, especially after that Indianapolis race that I mentioned. But as we begin the Harpoon Design countdown to green, you can see Ronnie Norman is really our only remaining hope to shake up these standings going into the chase, and even he is a good ways out. And Kyle Tubb, actually, this is going to be something we talk about a bit in Gas and Go. Kyle Tubb is suddenly kind of the next driver that we look at to potentially lock in, and Vincent Arthur may not be running tonight at all, and if he does run, may not run the full race. So again, troubles for the 24. He looked good just a few weeks ago, a month ago. He looked like he was a lock-in for the chase, and now he might be replicating that 2005 missing of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series chase by Jeff Gordon. So a lot has changed, and a lot continues to change on this points graphic. And Zach, I don't know if we're ready for the next 3 weeks.
Well, I'm starting to think that if Vincent Arthur does not make it, would that not help out Christenberry by potentially putting him within striking distance? I mean, I don't know. It's a heck of a long shot. But I think it's potentially doable if that 24 car is not able to make it to these next few races.
And I suppose you could be right, but I will maintain that you should not expect it. You definitely should not expect it.
If Vincent loses more and more points, okay, let's say he drops behind Christenberry in the points. So that moves the cut line up. That effectively makes the cut line between Norman and Christenberry, so now we're going off of the points between the two of them. Which, if we do the math, I mean, it's incredibly simple. 207, as I whip out the calculator, 207 minus 63 equals 144. That's within striking distance. That would put him effectively in the yellow.
We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. I don't want to get too far out of myself on any of this. All right, I don't want to get too hopeful, and I don't want to get too detracted. I guess we'll wait and see. It's going to be a lot of fun these next few races, and
that's why you have me to hit you with the hypotheticals.
I suppose. Here's a look at the schedule for this season. You see, we're here at Bristol tonight, 300 laps, and then California next week, 150 there, and 240 at Richmond. Those are your next 3 weeks. 2 short tracks, 1 big speedway and intermediate track there at California, and then it's out to New Hampshire to begin the chase as we get into September. That'll technically be August 31st, but what are you going to do? That said, let's get into the, I guess, meat and potatoes of this Harpoon Design Countdown to Green, Zach. And we, of course, will have a couple of drivers we talk to and all of that. The first of them being actually the guy who's fastest in practice right now. How about Chase Durheim? And we, admittedly, I told him last week after the finish at Michigan that we would talk to him, and then I forgot that we were going to do that. So we had to kind of pivot. He's going to go in as our first driver that we talk to here in the Countdown to Greens. Let me, now that Josh has moved our booth around in all the Discord channels, bring Chase in. And Chase, I know this is kind of impromptu even for us to ride into the run of show, but Chase, last week, Michigan, you wanted to talk to us kind of after that finish at what I thought was about to be your second win of the season. It didn't quite go right. What happened there?
Yeah, it's probably a good thing that we didn't get an interview that night, because I was pissed. But the more I think about it, you know, I got to be mad at myself, because I passed them in 1 and 2. I had 3 and 4, and then most of 1 and 2 to pull away from him, and I just didn't. I know I had 2 tires, and I think he had 6 or 7 lap old tires, and I passed them okay, and then I kind of was like, okay, Tucker is coming on 4 tires, so I need to just chill and not make a mistake. And yeah, I just didn't drive away from the 12 like I probably should have, and he got to my back bumper. And did I get wrecked? Yeah, I didn't spin out by myself, but you know, the more I think about it, it's a lot different that I could have done for sure.
And speaking on things that you could have done differently potentially, what do you think that you can take from the lessons or the things you could have done differently and apply them here tonight at Bristol? Obviously, you're fastest on the racetrack right now, so what does this give you rolling into tonight, where it's going to be a lot more chaotic than a spread-out racetrack?
Yeah, I mean, if it's anything like the spring race, nobody really knows what to expect, and it's going to be crazy. But I do expect it to be a little calmer. You know, everybody's raced around each other quite a bit now, but short tracks are not a strong suit for me. I think don't look too hard at the leaderboard right now, because I think I was just the first one on track, and the track was the fastest when I was on it. This is not a strong suit. I shoot for top 5s on short tracks and top 10s on road courses, and then, you know, try to go get wins everywhere else. But honestly, in the playoffs, it's just Martinsville for a short track. And I know I'm down there in the points a lot, and it's probably okay. I'd rather nobody's really talking about me and kind of sneak up on people than be a front runner and have all the pressure on myself. So I think just tonight the goal is to stay clean and get a good points day and finish where I deserve. I feel like I haven't finished where I deserve much this year, so that's the goal for tonight, and just kind of, you know, get ready for Auto Club. I think I'll have a really good car at Auto Club, so we'll see what happens there.
And as we're going to talk about as we get into gas and go here shortly, and as we've seen even last week with Dalton Tucker sliding over to the 37 car, Hunter Sr. potentially moving ground, we'll talk about that shortly, Cody Anderson moving over to the 3, you know, a lot has changed within this landscape of this series very, very quickly, and it's going to continue to change as more and more drivers kind of see the shaking up and say, oh, you know, now is my time to act, and team owners too. And of course, we know, we've seen Roush has been kind of, I don't want to say non-existent, but it's really been you out there. LJ's only run a handful of races. Noah Blackwell, only a handful of races. The 97 has been MIA entirely all season, I feel like. And it looks like LJ is signing in for tonight, but we don't see your brother Chance Durheim. So what is next on that front?
Oh man, yeah, things are popping off around the league. I got out on the track today and like the 33 car passed me and I'm like, who is, oh, it's Hunter Senior. Okay, that's what he's driving now. No, it's crazy. This league is so much fun. We got so many good cars, but like you said, Roush, we haven't had a full team this year, and in 2005 they were a powerhouse team. And you know, I hope we can get back to it next year. Chance, you know, his work, he works nights. They're building a data center next to our little small town, North Dakota town, and he works nights, and he goes 10-hour shifts, and now they switch him back to 12-hour shifts, and that he just can't get a race in before then. So he doesn't know what he's going to be able to do ownership wise next year. So I think we got some exciting things cooking up. I think some things people are maybe not expecting, but we're going to try to fill this team out with some good drivers, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm excited. This league is so much fun.
It really is, and I was even talking with Caden Henry Oaks earlier today, and I'm going to kind of put Josh Conover on the spot here in a second about this, but maybe even thinking that the switch over to the Legacy Gen 4 car might be worthwhile to change the profile of the car to what was a little more accurate for 2006. So, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to talk about with this series, and for a long time I was kind of hesitant, but you guys, you yourself, Chase, one of the drivers in here that has made it, I think, so cool and fun to follow all year long, and we're talking about you going for a championship. Best of luck tonight. I know I watched the race from 2005 back earlier today, and it was Matt Kenseth who won from pole. I don't know who's on pole tonight, but hopefully you can at least represent and get a Ford close to victory lane, even if it isn't the 17.
Yeah, you know, Greg Biffle had a lot of wins early in the year, and then kind of not so many late in the year. Maybe I'm just gonna flip that a little bit. Maybe we're saving our wins for the end of the year. I don't know. We'll see.
Fair enough. We'll see. Chase Durheim, car number 16, win already, and hopefully another one on the way.
Thank you. See ya.
That is Chase Durheim in the number 16. Next up on our list, I mentioned putting Josh Conover on the spot. Zach, let's go ahead and track him down. I know he's around here somewhere. I'm looking. There he is on the racetrack. And this is a lot of moving pieces. I got to track him down now in Discord. There he is. I see Vincent Arthur has joined the Discord, and they are talking up there, so I hate to break up their conversation, but I'm going to bring in Josh Conover and put him on the spot. We just wrapped up talking with Chase Durheim, and in that conversation, Josh, I mentioned that I talked with Caden Henry Oaks earlier, and maybe I should have put this in Gas and Go. However, talking about maybe looking at the Legacy Gen 4 car for 06 and beyond, and I'm going to put your thoughts on the table here if you've got any on that.
Well, as you're learning, that's kind of out of my hands, so it's whatever everybody else votes on.
Fair enough. Well, as far as how it applies to tonight, you know, bringing you in for this interview, of course, we see the yellow and orange and blue graphic for your car number. You are in the 5 this evening. I don't recall you being in the 5 before this evening. Obviously, I know you won Indianapolis, but I don't recall you being in the 5 for any of the previous 5 rounds. How big of an opportunity is this for you?
You're right, I haven't been in one of these races yet, but it's nice. Anytime you can compete for some extra prize money, it's always some incentive to go out and outperform yourself, I guess you could say.
And talking about outperforming yourself, there are quite a few drivers out there you're looking to outperform, especially with being in the 5. And aside from, you know, taking 3 hours to give someone some photo credit, how do you feel like your chances rolling into this race stack up compared to those other guys in the 5?
Well, I mean, if the photo guy would be more on top of things, I might remember to give him credit earlier than that, but
Wow.
No, we'll see. I think right now in practice, Housden is the only one ahead of me, but then right behind me, Anderson and Jones. And I think all of them literally start in front of me. So it's a long 300 laps. If guys use their heads, it could go by, as we all know, rather quickly. So you gotta, you know, use your heads and try and stay clean. I mean, like I said, 300 laps is a long time, but if we can get into a groove, get some laps in before you know it, we're halfway, and then, you know, we're 100 to go and 50 to go, and, you know, obviously you're at the end. So we usually can get one green flag run and green flag stops in here in the short track, so hopefully we get another one tonight. And like I said, let's let everything play out as it should.
And as we draw finally nearer and nearer to this chase this season, I think you can kind of switch gears eventually from worrying about each of these races and maybe just think, at least as we leave tonight, kind of forget California and Richmond, start to think about New Hampshire. What's the goal for you? Obviously, as we get back into a chase format in NASCAR, there are teams and drivers who have known they will be in the chase for at least a month or so. Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, guys like them, and they get to kind of forget about some of this mid-summer, I guess, what is the word? I know it's there, but you get kind of stuck in a lot of these different racetracks, a lot of variety, and then you get back to some tracks that you've been to already this season. This is a great example of one of them. We've been to Bristol already. We were at Michigan already earlier in the year. So as we get to some of those other racetracks, even though New Hampshire and Rockingham are the first time we'll be at each one of those racetracks to start the chase, we will eventually get back into tracks we've already seen, and you can kind of start to just focus on the championship. So switching gears like that, forgetting these next couple of races, is that prominent to you at all, or are you still just trying to get all the wins you can?
Admittedly, it probably should be. I know last year I wasn't very good at New Hampshire or Rockingham, so I should be taking advantage and kind of focusing more on that. But at the same time, too, I mean, granted, it's only, I think, a 5-point difference for seeding, but, those 5 points could be huge, especially with, trying to compete with Dalton and even Hunter. I feel like he's had the points lead all year, except for maybe a week or two. So we're closing the gap, but I know Dalton's back in front of me, I think, by 1 going into tonight, and Hunter's on the pole, so you assume he's going to get the 5 bonus points right off the bat. And we'll be, -5 just from the word go. So we're going to try and get, at least second, if not maybe catch him and snag the quote-unquote regular season #1 spot and go to the chase #1. But even if we're number 3, it's better than number 10. So we'll see what happens and trying to stay out of the chaos.
Well, Josh, best of luck tonight. We see your incident per race stat got a little worse after last week at Michigan, but hopefully we're talking to you again soon with good news, potentially about 50 bucks maybe staying in your pocket, or at least not going far from Wayne to you.
That's the hope. And my incident should have actually gotten better. I think I had a 0x, but I'll let the stat guy figure that one out. But yeah, if we can come in with some money tonight, that's never a disappointment.
Fair enough. Well, best of luck, Josh.
Appreciate you guys.
Josh, I almost said Josh Johnson because I'm reading it straight off of Discord, but Josh Conover in the number 48. We'll get him back to his teammates, I promise. There we go. And let him talk with them as, well, I tried to move him. Maybe I can't move the server owner. I don't know. Zach, final driver that we'll be talking to here this evening in pre-race will be, as I do see Vincent is just getting into the sim, we did pivot over to grabbing the new driver of the number 3, and that is Cody Anderson. So we'll dial up the driver of the 3 in a moment once I have time to drag him through this elaborate Discord server. And there is Cody Anderson, finally getting him pulled up. And obviously, I know this is a big opportunity for you, Cody. We've been talking about it a lot on the broadcast, and I'm sure you've been talking about it a lot with your teammates. I think most of them you're already working with, but moving over to this black number 3, is there any added pressure, especially at a track like Bristol?
Yeah, it's a lot to live up to. This car was pretty successful here back in the heyday, so definitely got to get my stuff together tonight. I watched qualifying really bad, so starting pretty far back, just kind of take my time, save tires, and hopefully we get up there.
And stepping into Bristol, and especially stepping into the 3 car at Bristol, do we see some intimidation? Do we see some ruffling of the bumpers?
We'll see. Depends on what's on the line. I mean, I know a lot of these guys are trying to make the chase, and I'm an open guy still, so I'm not here to screw anybody's nights up or their night up. So if it's for the win, we'll see. But like I said, I gotta get up there first. But want to be respectful for everybody, trying to rack up as many points as possible.
And I see a 5 car behind you that actually just blew his engine because he was sitting in pit lane for so long. I know he's happy to run that paint scheme, but I promise, I was talking to Caden earlier, you have full permission to rattle his cage. I'm just saying. It would be a bit like 96, 90, I forget which year now. But yeah. The 3, the 5, they have a history here. Full permission from me. You might not have it from him, but you have permission from me.
All right, that's enough. That's all I need. So if it comes down to it, then I'm gonna come back to you on that.
Fair enough. Well, Cody, it's good to talk to you. Best of luck in the 5 tonight. We see your number is orange and blue there, so best of luck. Hopefully you're $50 richer here at the end of the night.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Cody Anderson with a great opportunity in this number 3 car, Zach. I am excited to see kind of what's next for him. Obviously, I've mentioned pretty candidly before, as Caden does a burnout there out of his pit box, pretty candidly before, that I really would love to get him on some kind of team with our Whiplash slash Kirk Shelmerdine operation. But it's good to see him get an opportunity and do some cool things here in the series. That said, our next segment is my favorite, and we have some interesting topics to discuss here, Zach. I'll even turn the sim down so you all can hear us a little better. Gas and Go. This is my favorite part of the broadcast that we do for NORA. And first up on the topics, how about Dalton Tucker? Is he just showing off with that run at Michigan a week ago? Starting from the back because of the car change, drives through, saves a bunch of gas, would have had the race won anyways, and then has a caution, throws him for a loop, and still wins the darn race. Is he just showing off, Zach?
Probably not. Honestly, I may catch a little heat for that one, but I feel like he got a little lucky when it came to some of the cautions last week, but he definitely had some really, really good pace.
I don't know. It really felt like he was just kind of playing with his food before he ate last week at Michigan, but who's to say he doesn't have some struggles coming up, but it definitely feels like that 37 car is right back, well, I guess Dalton Tucker at least, right back to dominating these races. And how about this? We saw it on some graphics already, and Chase Durham kind of spilled the beans. Hunter Sr. takes advantage of the vacancy in the number 33. We just spoke with Cody Anderson. He shifted over to the 3 following Dalton Tucker's leaving of the 3 car to go to the 37, and now Senior in this 33. We talked just weeks ago about Senior looking to switch into a different car, and here he is switching cars.
Yeah, pretty unexpected. Really, really unexpected, actually. I am going to have a hard time getting used to this one. I expected to see him.
Yeah, I also am just not used to it yet, and even as I look at it here, I don't know. That's a weird sight for me to see, but best of luck to him. We'll see how it pans out, and again, it's an opportunity for him to kind of switch things up and see what he can do in a new look. And Kyle Tubb, I put this graphic together hours ago, and come to find out in the last hour or so, he plans to start in park tonight. He is 8th in the standings coming into this evening, 77 points above the cut line. The question now is so silly, is he safe for the chase? No. Not if he's starting parking. I think he could have been. Not anymore.
It definitely creates a huge risk for that 32 car, especially with 2 races left to go. I don't know, Andrew. That means he's just going to have to be on point those next 2 races.
On down the line, Josh Conover, he is in the 5 for the first time this season, thanks to that Indianapolis win. There you see the rest of the field. Who do we think takes the extra 50 tonight?
If I'm going to have to make a big guess on it, I'm going to go with Housden.
Really? With Brian Jones, I mean, Brian Jones finished 2nd here in the spring.
I'm taking a swing. I am taking a swing. And I think we can all see from previous NORA races this season, when I take a swing, I tend to take a swing. And sometimes I don't strike out. I haven't striked out yet.
Well, fair enough. Final topic on the evening, Caden Henry Oaks. Is he moving around this silly season? He's got 13 starts in the series, part-time, now in the 5. And, hey, there are people interested in drivers who are still kind of making their way in and don't have major alliances yet. I was talking with him earlier today. I'm just saying, keep an eye out.
Let's keep my eye out, because I haven't heard about silly season rumors around Caden Henry Oaks. So that should be an interesting move around.
There are many, many moves on the way, I think, for 2006 coming up very, very soon. Hunter Sr. going to lead us to the green this evening. Zach, we haven't done this a whole lot. I want to go ahead and hit our win pick really quick. Do you mind if we go ahead and do that? And I'll tell you what, I'll even give you 2 picks. Does that make it even better?
Sure.
Who you got?
Tonight, See, now I get 2 picks, so I get to really think about this one for a second. I think for my first pick, I'm gonna go with Ryan Housden, and then for my second pick, I'm gonna go with Hunter Sr. So I'm gonna take a couple of front runners, and honestly, I feel pretty confident about it. I feel immensely confident about it, actually. I'm very oh, I gotta make my fantasy picks too.
Yeah, you might want to do that. While you do that, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take a page out of my own book with who you got earlier today. I'm going to go Kyle Rochelle. I feel like this race is going to spice things up, switch things up, and this guy finished top 5, I believe, or maybe it was 6th, something like that. Really, really good, though, in the spring race here, and finished 2nd last week at Michigan. Much to Chase Durheim's dismay, by the way. Let's take a look at the starting grid this evening, though, as drivers are rolling off of pit lane and onto the racetrack. There you saw the first row, Hunter Sr. and Kevin Baumler. Here's row 2, Ryan Housden, Josh Adams, Brian Jones, Jake Christenberry, row 3. The final 4 in the top 10. How about Chase Durheim, Ronnie Norman, then Kyle Tubb, and John Scavnicki, who I picked in fantasy.
I joined you right there with the pick for Scavnicki. Rolling outside the top 10, it's Josh Conover and Jacob Malone in the 11th and 12th spot. 13th and 14th on the starting grid. Right behind them, you'll find Dalton Tucker and Kyle Rochelle. 15th and 16th on the grid, you'll find Matthew George and Jacob Gladgelich in the 25 and the 20. 17th on the grid, you'll find Nick Geilis with Cody Anderson to his outside. And then 19th and 20th on the starting grid, you'll find Caden Henry Oaks and Nick Hom.
A little farther back, how about 21st on back through 28th? It'll be this evening. Vincent Arthur, Brock Morris in row number 11, followed by Caden Perkins and Alex Edelman. Finally, Blade Timmons, LJ Hernandez, Michael Ponder Jr., and Corey Powell, as Ponder is no longer in the car. Looks like he may not make the start of the race after all. I believe we're going to have an extra lap or two. Maybe Josh Conover wasn't thinking of it. No, you said 2 extra pace laps. I see that now, but the lights are not on the pace truck regardless. Now, let's go ahead and look at those fantasy standings coming into tonight. Zach, there we go. The Whiplash Creative fantasy standings after 23 races of 26. Now, we didn't pick fantasy for all 23 of these races, but good to see how things are breaking down. And boy, now that we've got drops figured in, I'm feeling okay for this chase coming up.
Yeah, you're looking pretty good in terms of points. Hey, I moved up! I moved up a spot!
Look at that. Even a blind nut finds a squirrel from time to time.
Well, I thought a broken clock was right twice a day.
More than one way to skin a cat. But there you go. That is a look at your fantasy top 10. The top 10 of us will make it into the chase this season. Just on the outside are our commentator Silas Nerby, and I got to think about who else. Kate Henry Oaks and Jennifer Housden, I do believe, as here we go. We're starting the race. I did not expect that. We were supposed to have 2 extra caution laps. We got 1. Green flag. Kyle Tubb pulls down. Give me just a moment. We are green in the Bristol night race. And leading lap number 1, how about Hunter Sr. in his brand new ride? The number 33 looks real good out front.
Single file amongst the top 5, and we've got our first caution of the race. Turn 2, big one. Vincent Arthur's involved. Chase contenders. Caden Henry Oaks getting on through as Brock Morris is stopped in the middle of the racetrack.
Morris gets the car rolling. You saw Kyle Tubb stay in it just a little bit longer. Caden Henry Oaks has a bunch of damage. That number 5 did not make it very long. I saw Corey Powell get through it, and down to the pit lane already is Alex Edelman. Blade Timmons, he looks okay. Well, boy, what happened here? We had a lap 1 caution at Michigan a week ago. Now it's a lap 2 caution here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Here's off of turn 2. Vincent Arthur down low. This was lap 1, it looks like, so wait just a little longer. I think it's going to happen between 24 and the 8. Watch this. Turns 1 and 2. Nick Hom checks up. He got loose, and in that stack up, Vincent Arthur just couldn't stay out of the back end of the 8 car of Brock Morris.
Just classic Bristol stack-ups. There's really not much that you can do in that regard. It's such a tight racetrack, Andrew. The lap traffic can play as much of a factor as running for the lead.
And it was really Nick Hom getting loose there that set it all off, but even so, it is a lot like the start of Michigan last week, where you just get a stack up, you can't see through the car in front of you, and Vincent Arthur just wasn't able to stay out of the back end of the 8 car. Here's the onboard driver's eye perspective for Vincent. Yeah, that's tricky. He maybe could have done a little better of a job staying out of the 8 car because he did see the 88 have an issue, but at the same time, he doesn't see the 88 spinning or sideways or anything. He can no longer see that car. So his assumption is that, okay, Nick gathered it up, he's getting back on the gas, and that just was not the case. That's tricky, because also, if he checks up harder, Caden is in his back bumper, and that is just the trick, especially here to Bristol Motor Speedway on these starts and restarts. The good news is, maybe bad news actually, is they'll be single file here in a moment.
Lights are out atop the pace truck. No lap cars, so it's just going to be single file race.
Alex Edelman and Kyle Tubb already out of the race, but they are out. They are not in the pacing field, so we will have a single-file restart. Truly, a quick look at your Whiplash SimCam's race details. 300 laps, 159.9 miles, just under 260 kilometers, 77% fuel. We are told that's about 105 to 110 laps. Weather conditions briefly, track temp a little high, 83, not too bad. It's going to cool down a lot as the sun drops down behind the racetrack and the mountains here in virtual Bristol, Tennessee. Green flag on the way, racing again at Bristol Motor Speedway. Off turn 4, it's still Hunter Sr. out front. Not a big surprise there, honestly, considering qualifying and the initial start of this race. Problems, though. Arthur loose again. Maybe not loose, maybe he got hit, but sideways again and slow.
He got
off of turn 4.
He got underneath a couple of cars and just kicked it sideways.
With some big troubles for Arthur just to get this race started. And we are under caution. Rochelle, oh, man. Something commentator curse.
You just had to say something.
Just had to go and pick him for the win, huh? Let's see what happens here to Rochelle down on the inside of turns 3 and 4, and just got loose. Never really got it gathered up. You see that damage there on the nose of that race car. Not much, but just enough to consider heading down to the pit lane. And, well, under caution twice in just a couple of laps. This is not how I expected this race to go, Zach, but while they pace around under this caution, a quick look at power rankings, and oh boy, things have in some ways changed, in some ways it stayed the same. Malone's still up there, but he is much closer now to Brian Jones behind him. Those two are nearly on top of one another, and Vincent Arthur, he held position but dropped all the way back to Ryan Housden. And how about Hunter Sr. moving up, and he's now got that 33 by his name. Yeah, things are changing, yet also staying the same.
So is life, in some ways.
I suppose that's fair. I am interested to see as this summer wears on a little bit longer if Tucker can hold this all the way through the rest of the season, if Conover might get up there. I mean, Josh is looking really good lately. He got that win at Indianapolis a couple of weeks ago. He was in the running, I'd say, at both Pocono races. He was certainly in contention for a good while last week at Michigan, just didn't get the fuel strategy right. I'm not saying he's going to win the championship, but I am saying we have to at least consider him.
I think he's well in the running. I have considered Josh in the running for the championship for quite a while at this point. He's shown the consistency and the ability to go out there and drive. He's just had a lot of trouble with closing the deal. But I mean, you can't really blame him. He's had different situations that have taken him out of contention for the win that were relatively out of his own control. Your wife going into labor tends to be one of them.
That's fair. That's fair. He probably should have won that Atlanta race earlier on this spring. Here we go. Lap 13 complete. Let's see if this is our good luck charm to get some laps in this time. 13 complete, a whole lot more to go. Green flag again at the last great Coliseum. One car slowed towards the rear. That was Corey Powell making his first start here in the NORA Retro Cup Series, but we stay green, single file at the front. Up the racetrack, though, was Jake Christenberry. Chase Durheim right there to try and take advantage.
Single file off the corner, single file all around as Conover takes a look to the inside. Can't quite get it done into one. He's going to keep his nose peeked in there as Durheim now makes the peek to the inside of Christenberry. The 16 trying to go forward. Conover looking at him saying, where the heck can I go to make this run stick? Back down to the bottom as Senior is just clicking off. Fast lap after fast lap. Now Durheim stuck behind Christenberry, boxed in with the 48 to his inside.
Nowhere to go at this point in time. I think you want to be on the bottom, but you can make the top side work. And Zach, I wonder, do we know what's going to be better on tires long run?
Personally, I feel like top is going to be better on the long run. It's there's less rotation up there, less throttle input you have to put into the car. I can't imagine that running up on the top side would be less beneficial on your tires compared to running on the bottom. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, Conover gets on by the 16 car, and how about Dalton Tucker outside the top 10 here early? I don't think it will take him long, though. I will say he isn't necessarily known, I feel like, in this series for being, lights out good on short tracks, but he was in the mix at Martinsville back in the spring along with Vincent Arthur. I don't recall him being necessarily great at Bristol earlier in the year, but who knows?
You know what's great about short tracks, Andrew? None of them are really the same. I mean, you could say that for about every racetrack. There were a lot of people saying the cookie cutter racetracks, the mile and a halves were all too the same throughout the mid-2000s and early 2010s, but short tracks, they all have these different characteristics that separate them from being able to appeal to a driver's particular style. I think the overall driver type... Okay, let me rephrase a little bit. I think Martinsville played to Tucker's strengths a little bit more than Bristol does. And it shows. He's running outside the top 10. He's not far outside the top 10, but he's running further down to the people that he is in relative competition towards.
Well, he's got some work to do at the very least, as here is your race leader after 25 laps at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Hunter Sr. over Kevin Baumler and Josh Adams. And I do feel like every time we get one of these short track races, we always have somebody towards the front that we just don't really expect to be there. I'd say this whole top three. I wouldn't have traditionally expected them in the top three any other race, but when you come to a short track, it just changes things up here in this series. I feel like it takes a very particular set of skills, I think, to be good in this car on a short track. Kevin Baumler has shown he has that in the past. He was on pole at Richmond this spring, and with Richmond just a week away as far as qualifying goes, 2 weeks away for the race, I think Kevin might be hitting his stride of some racetracks that are a little more in his wheelhouse as they lap the other Taco Bell car.
Well, Andrew, I was just about to say, driving up front is easy when you're in the clean air. Now these guys are hitting lap traffic. We're going to start seeing just how much these guys are going to be able to cut through the traffic very quickly. Corey Powell going backwards in a hurry. He's staying up to the top side to let these leaders go. He's the first car to go one lap down, other than Edelman and Tubb, who are both pretty much out of the race. But here we see more and more drivers getting ready to go one lap down. This is LJ Hernandez, the next car to go one lap down here in that 6 car for Roush Fenway. There's Hunter Sr. He's lost a little bit of gap, Andrew. He was 9/10 of a second in front of Kevin Baumler. Now he's about 7/10 of a second in front of that 81. And Adams has closed in the fight for that second spot. And as these lap cars click off, well, you might see that gap come down a little bit more.
Well, about a little over a tenth of the race in so far, a little deeper in the field. How about Caden Perkins back in the field tonight? Did not have a great run at Michigan last week. Got caught up in a crash with Cody Smith. By the way, Cody Smith suspended, I believe, through the remainder of the year. Is that right?
I'd have to go back and look at the penalty.
I believe that's the case, but as I think about it and say it, I feel like that's not the case. There's a pass behind him. Brock Morris and Matthew George racing. Morris moving up as Blade Timmons, who's filling in at a 29 tonight, will try and follow. But as for that incident with the 42, watch out. Caden Perkins nearly got Anderson there off of, I guess, into turns 1 and 2. Anderson working on the 28 of Guylas. Nearly contact there again. These guys are having some good racing.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm looking back at the
I'm
penalty
looking at it too,
report.
yeah.
Cody Smith is suspended for the rest of the season due to the intentional wrecking between himself and Caden Perkins. Brady Moats is 2 races on his probation, but he ain't even here. So Wayne Sparks has 7 races on his probation, and then a few cars are still not able to qualify for the next number of races.
The point was Caden Perkins and Cody Smith. Cody Smith no longer racing the rest of the season. It sounds like he actually was already not going to be racing the remainder of the season, which is kind of unfortunate, but that at least is how it broke down and what happened in penalty land in the NORA Retro Cup Series in the last week. Watching Caden Perkins on board, you see Anderson on the inside of Guylas, and Nick Guylas having a decent run to start the night off. Obviously losing this spot here is not going to feel good, but it's a long race, plenty of time for these guys to figure things out and let the race come to them. And that's the other big important thing, is we see the battle for the lead start to shake up a little bit. This is 300 laps at a really, really rough racetrack to actually hang in the seat for. It's not just, 150 miles, or 160, I should say, at any other track. I think you'd prefer 160 at just about anywhere else other than maybe Atlanta. The old school Atlanta. Frankly, this place just wears you out.
It's a travesty to try and run this place consistently. I mean, it is so hard to run this track. Once you find a smooth rhythm, you just kind of settle in. So, I want to see if I can point this into perspective. And tell me if you have any trouble understanding this for any length of time. So once you start settling into a rhythm and you hit that flow state, you just start clicking off, and then by the time you realize the race is over, and once you realize the race is over, you just hit this unbelievable crash. I'm not even kidding you. I've experienced it quite a few times myself. All of it just hits you all at once. Your body is pushing itself past its limits, and then once you finally come off of that high, it completely just hits you. And that's kind of what Bristol does to you.
I feel like that's sim racing and probably racing in general. I haven't been in a real car myself to say for sure on that other part, but I can tell you every time I sim race, maybe this is because I'm A, out of shape, and B, no longer very good at racing on the sim. Not that I ever was that good, as we have a caution, but I feel like any race wears you out, as we are looking at Vincent Arthur spun around again. Nick Guylas was also involved in this, and his car has no front bumper, so that great run I was talking about a few moments ago, yeah, throw it out the window.
I have no words. Oh, Lord.
And this is going to be Caden Perkins that got into him. Guylas then trying to hang on to it, couldn't, ends up tagging the 24, and look, I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I am going to say, though, maybe a reminder that sometimes it's a little better to just let the car spin around and dump off to the apron, but here's a look at it. Morris loose off the corner. That really set all of this up, and I think maybe because of that, Nick lifted and got on the brakes a little earlier than Caden Perkins was expecting. But yeah, I mean, that pull back to the right just maybe didn't need to happen.
Maybe just a tad.
Again, I can't blame Nick. He's trying to save the race car and not crash, but sometimes you just need to accept that you're going to and let it happen. Oh, that actually provided a great alternative look. Is Perkins at fault for both of these, maybe?
I honestly don't know.
Let's check his onboard. That'll be the easiest way to tell. Let's watch the 84 car here. Does he get into Morris first, or does Morris get into Guileless first? He was loose, and man, I think Guileless might have been loose too.
I think Morris came up the track a little bit, and Caden couldn't jump out of the gas fast enough.
That's really, really odd. Watch this again, specifically the 8 car at first. We even slow it down. I don't know. Does he actually get into Guileless to make this all happen? Maybe a little, and then, yeah, Perkins, I think, was always going to hit Morris. And that just makes it all that much worse. And here out of the corner, you see the contact there from the 84 to the 28. Guileless then kind of goes around, fishtailing here. Tries to save it, but ends up going right back across into the 24, and well, that's no good. Great miss there by a couple of those guys at the back end of all that, trying to make sure they pull their cars down the racetrack as there are cars still sitting in the racing line. Everybody has just pitted Zach. I think that was probably the best thing for them to do. Tires and fuel all around.
I'm listening to race control right now, and it looks like from the sounds of it, Caden Perkins is going to be placed at fault for the incident between those 3 cars. So that'll be an EOL for the 84.
I can see that a couple of ways. It's a tricky one. And frankly, I think that's also just attributed to being Bristol. You know, we saw Brock was a little loose. It looked like Nick was a little loose, and Perkins just didn't really have any time to lift off of Brock initially. But then, especially into turn 1, I don't think it's any mystery that Caden Perkins hit Nick Guileless, and that ultimately brings out the caution. So probably the right call there by our race controller, Corey. But you see the 1 lap car on the inside, that'll be LJ Hernandez. I'm not sure if Guileless or Powell will catch up, and it looks like they will not. So, Hunter Sr. to the restart zone gets us racing again at the world's fastest half mile. Great battle for second here on the restart. That is Jake Christenberry going on by the number 81 of Kevin Baumler for second. That is big. To your credit, Zach, you wonder, can Christenberry still make it if we see Arthur maybe miss a race or 2 even? Can the 11 stay in this? As there's another caution. It is Caden Perkins again.
Oh no, that car is way more tore up than it was before. That might be his night over and done with for the 84.
Question is, was there contact here? He and Rochelle racing into turn 3. Perkins just loose, and...
he just catches it on his own. Oh! That's not what you want to see. That was a big thing in netcode right there, though.
No, and this is 3rd caution of the day for Caden. And
2nd.
No, 3rd. He got into Brock once already. No, it was... Who did he get into initially? Somebody. I'm telling you, this is his 3rd. I'm certain of that.
Well, from what I saw from okay. It's his 3rd incident he's been involved in, but this would more than likely be his 2nd at fault.
Are we remembering this race the same?
Hey, look, man, I'm just going off the message from the race chat that I see from race control saying 84 Perkins EOL first at fault.
Well, that's fair.
And that was for the last caution.
I could have sworn he had one more where he got into somebody, and I can't recall who it is now. So perhaps I am misremembering. I'm looking back through incidents now on the replay side, and, well, anyhow. Not what you want to see regardless for not Vincent. Well, Vincent, yeah, he's in the pit lane still repairing damage, but for Caden, they're in the 84.
Which will be a drive-through, by the way, for his second at fault.
And this hurts for Vincent considering, well, he's in the 5, right? He has an opportunity for $50 extra, and it's very likely out the window. There you see Caden Henry Oaks in the pit lane, still receiving repairs. Nick Geilis still in the pit lane. He's already a lap down, likely to go another. There is LJ Hernandez. I'm not sure why he ended up 2 laps down, unless it was that longer green flag run we had, but there he is. And then Corey Powell, 3 laps down, and he's got damage now in the 92. He was involved in that incident with Caden Perkins. I'm trying to get a good look at it. There you go. As we are green.
No. It's a glitch.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen this. Yep. My keyboard lit up green. There goes the pace truck, just gone. But, okay. Yeah, ATVO thinks we're green. My keyboard thought we were green, so the sim thinks we're green, but we're about to go green here off of turn number 4. Hunter Sr. in control. No cars underneath the race leader. Here we go, restart zone. We're back racing at Bristol officially now. There you see them all single file towards the front. Ryan Housden, he is in the mix here. You mentioned for the 5, you thought he was in contention. Here he is, kind of strolling his way on up. I wouldn't picture him to be a big short track racer, but he is in the battle here in the top 10. How about Chase Durheim getting up here? Dalton Tucker in the top 10. Ronnie Norman in the top 10. But this battle, the 18, the 81, Malone and Baumler right behind Christenberry, with Conover, Jones, and Housden all right behind for the 5.
Outside of Conover, Brian Jones. He is pushing on that top line. It is really rolling for him right now. Trying to get to Baumler, gives him the line. This is on board with Housden as the 45 goes to the front.
These guys are all on equal footing for the top, 19 positions, all on the same set of tires. Kevin Baumler sliding back. He's down to 5th. I think this is a low for him so far. It is, yeah. Hasn't been any lower yet. He is going backwards as this run goes on, as the track changes as well, Zach. I mentioned earlier the track was going to change. So far, it hasn't changed much visually, and even track temp. I mean, it looks the same. It's rubbering in slightly. The track temp has actually gone up because obviously we are running laps now versus before the race. So that is changing a little bit. Soon, though, once the sun really goes down, it will get a whole lot cooler.
A lot more gripped up, too.
Out front, 33, 11, 18. Hunter Sr., Jake Christenberry, and Jacob Malone. The top 3 spots. Brian Jones, though, right behind that 18 car. He would like to break the top 3. I do enjoy sometimes just doing exactly what we're doing, listening in and just hearing the engine sounds, kind of watching what these drivers are doing. Brian Jones running here in the 4th spot. That run kind of stagnating now for him. Great battles deeper in the field. How about this? Rochelle and Hom. This is for the 17th spot. Cody Anderson right behind as Conover and Baumler swap spots. That is for 5th position. And right behind them, actually, John Skavnicki, we talked about him earlier, having a good qualifying run, taking him in fantasy. Here he is, just outside the top 10.
He's doing a really good job. He's been a solid contender so far, especially since we're almost a Whoa, we're almost a third of the way through the race. It does not feel like it. But he's doing a really good job of keeping himself in contention right now. I know I say that a lot, and it's one of those ones that makes me sound like a broken record, but it's hard to disagree with sometimes. These guys are punching above their weight half the time, and they know how to show up and show out.
Skavnicki is certainly one to watch. There's a bit of smoke there into turn 3 that time. I don't think we'll do too much talking about it tonight, but if we get to green flag pit stops, you saw the blue line there on the bottom of the racetrack in turns 3 and 4. We are using the single pit configuration here at Bristol, which effectively just means that no matter if it's green or yellow, these drivers all have to use the single pit lane configuration where they enter in turn 2 and exit off of turn 1. That is pretty much the status quo now, I feel like. Now that iRacing has added that version of the track to the sim, I feel like most leagues just go ahead and default to it because it makes the most sense for caution pit stops, which you are most frequently doing. You don't really have too many green flag stops at Bristol these days. But if we get there, usually, Zach, we see, you know, short pitting rather, kind of undercutting the pit stops actually works better. Not tonight, as there's a caution.
Caution, sir. It's Rochelle again.
Yeah, as I
Andrew,
mentioned.
what did you do to this man?
Well, as I mentioned, I don't think we're going to have too many green flag stops, and this is just further proof of that. Rochelle around off of turn 2, and boy, the 12 car not having a good night. If you go back to that 05 race,
out of him.
well, if you go back to that 05 race, Nick Hom and Kyle Rochelle, they run the 88 and the 12. Those would be the cars driven by Dale Jarrett and Ryan Newman at the time. They actually got into it with Newman turning the 88 down to turn 1 at one point in the race, and then Dale Jarrett, one of the few times I've seen him do this kind of thing. I say that, but I think there's actually 2 I can think of in 2005 alone. He actually retaliated and intentionally crashed Ryan Newman in that race. That also took out Kevin Harvick in that event and included others like, I believe, Mike Bliss and Dale Jr. and others. So all this to say, we've seen those 2 cars already have some rougher moments. I know Hom didn't go completely around, I don't think, in that incident that he was in, but regardless, we've seen it already.
Pit stops are underway for the leaders. This is the first time we've seen these leaders come in. This is the first time all race long that we have seen any sort of shakeup up towards the front. Durheim still out on the racetrack.
Yeah, Durheim and Adams stay out, everybody else in. They have got plenty, and I do mean plenty of tires. They don't need to be shy about pitting, as there you see the 20 roll out. That is Jacob Gladulich. And let's see if they can make it out before the pace car. Sure enough, Hunter Sr. gets on out, followed by Kristen Barry Malone and others, and Durheim and the pace car are on the opposite end of the racetrack. I will say I am surprised by this move for the 16 and the 23 each to stay on these tires, but the biggest, I think, effect of that is it's going to hold the 6 and the 92 back from getting a wave around. They could have, I mean, they stayed out to try and get that wave around. Powell down 24 laps. He actually just got back on the racetrack, and then the 6th of LJ Hernandez is down 2 laps. He's trying to get back in the race, so they will each get held a lap down, well, at least 2, and not be able to get that wave around. Here we go to the restart. I share your sentiment, Zach. Somehow 82 laps will be complete this time by, as we will turn things over to Chase Durheim in the restart zone. Here we go. Green flag for the Roush Fenway, number 16. We're racing again at Bristol Motor Speedway. And off the bat, Josh Adams looking good on the top side. Gets to the right rear there of Durheim as everybody else starts to fill the gaps and get up there. A battle for third. Gladulich and Senior. Senior takes that spot with ease.
I'm still searching on that top side. And caution! Spinning! Turn 2!
It's Housden, Morris, 3 of the DEI cars. They keep piling in. Ryan Housden, Brock Morris, and Cody Anderson involved, and Brock Morris is junk. A bunch of damage to the 8. He's going to bring it right down the hill to the pit lane. I wouldn't even bother driving it back. That left front being disconnected, he's probably done for the day.
I mean, looking at the list, Brock Morris has a meatball flag. Jake Christenberry has a black flag.
Might have had to go to the pits to miss it, potentially. There is Housden spinning. Morris gets tagged. Skavnicki, wow! There you see they pile in on the top side. 2 Hendrick cars. A third was nearly involved. That was Caden Henry Oaks versus Caden Perkins. Here's a look at this again. Watch the 15 into turns 3 and 4. Just got loose. His old teammate goes by to miss, and then he tags his new teammate Brock Morrison. Wow, Skavnicki. That was so lucky. Anderson gets in it. George, Perkins. The rest come on by.
There's no other nominations. I think for one of the first times ever, we have a clear, defined pick for Murtis Esports Murtis Mega Miss. That's it.
Yeah, look at this. Watch for it. Wait for it. Slow it down right here. I mean, he about phased through his left rear quarter panel. Let's see if I can get a better look at this. That is incredible. The corner prior. Watch Skavnicki here. Housden gets loose ahead. Slides down, slides down, slides down. Boom, in the right side of the 8. Here comes Brock Morris up, and wow. I mean, that is incredible. One more look, I promise. Then we're back to live picture. Here's the run down the backstretch, and I mean, Housden didn't even get hit, just lost it all on his own. Did we figure out, though, what happened to Christenberry? Oh.
I don't think so.
So Christenberry here, maybe... Well, he's still in the pacing field. He's in 4th in line as we're about to go back green. Durheim in control. Here we go, green flag on the way. 88 complete, 212 to go at Bristol Motor Speedway.
I'm sorry. Rochelle has the black flag, not Christenberry.
Big difference. Here we go, battle for the race lead. Josh Adams on the back end of Chase Durheim through turns 3 and 4. How about underneath? That's Hunter Sr. in the 33. Jake Christenberry in 4th. Jacob Malone in 5th. We've got a quintet battling for the race lead.
First time that we haven't really seen Hunter Sr. out front all race long. I say that, but he's still running amongst the front runners. Adams looking around, getting on the bumper.
Chase, free off of 2 that time. As soon as your tires start to get free, you've really got to back it down. That means you've already overdone it. Senior goes to the top side, as does Durheim, to try and defend this race lead.
Christenberry
moves up,
caution.
and yeah, yellow flag. Cody Anderson, the 3 car. Problems.
Oh, no. Well, instead of rattling everybody's cage, it looks like his cage got rattled.
Thoroughly. His nose is still rattling around on the front of that race car. Let's see what happened here to car number 3. The bumper already falling off at this point in time. And that can be messing with the handle of the race car, but just for good measure, goes down, clips the apron off the corner, and his teammate, similarly, having the bumper just rattle around on the front of the car, goes right by him as that happens, but just a rough night for those DEI cars. It has been a rough summer, honestly, from their team owner. You know, Brady Motes, he got suspended for too many incidents, first of all, then had a baby come along, and I mean, they knew it was going to happen, but still was not ideal circumstance, I suppose, as far as the league goes. Obviously ideal for their family. Brady and Hannah very glad to have the new addition, but it has really thrown this team in just complete disarray. And frankly, Zach, I don't know how put together they were before this all happened, Dalton Tucker was reportedly, I had this on good faith, but reportedly doing his own thing pretty much, and the other drivers were left to kind of figure it out for themselves. And honestly, that shows. None of them had wins. And frankly, I mean, I know Brock Morris has the Watkins Glen win, but I don't really count that. That was a road course, and clearly we know Brock is a lot like Jacob Malone in his own category on road courses, as Christenberry will come down. Never mind. Pits are closed there. But that win column for DEI is right back to empty now, as far as active drivers on the roster with a win. None of them do, except for Brock Morris at Watkins Glen. And he's just a fill-in.
I'm gonna stir the pot slightly and say that if Brady is unable to return to the car soon, what's to say Brock Morris doesn't take over the 8?
For the rest of this season or indefinitely? I mean, that's big.
You play devil's advocate on that one. I'm sure Brady's watching at home.
If not live, hopefully later on at least, to see what goes on here tonight. I know they can't like how critical I am of that team. But I gotta say, to go from being so competitive earlier this year to really just... I mean, tonight's a great example of where they're at. All over, and in some crashes. I was always an Dale Jr. fan, DEI fan. It feels all too real for me. Here we go, green flag on the way. Let's watch from the static cams. Green flag, Chase Durheim out front. Hunter Sr. on the outside, and Chase Durheim to the line. Durheim still had the lead. Here comes Senior on the top side.
Side by side, back down into the corner. Hunter Sr. is ripping on that top line. He's moving forward, trying to get that race lead back. He's led the most laps so far, and he wants to continue leading them.
And with 100 complete, third distance, Senior back out front, clears the 16, pulls right back down for turns 1 and 2. Battle behind Malone and Adams. How about these two? Neither one in it for points, at least for driver points, both running for owners points, battling for third and fourth, with Christenberry, Jones, Conover, Baumler all right behind. Skavnicki in the top 10 currently. He is just in ahead of Ronnie Norman, who desperately needs these spots. We talked about the chase earlier. Norman on the outside looking in, with Tubb down in 27th. Sure, Kyle gets points for starting. This is an opportunity for Ronnie to get back on the wheel. Gladulich not having the best of nights. Arthur, we never really know what's going on with him, and he's got damage. Ronnie Norman needs to be on it. He finished top 10 here in the spring. He needs to repeat that.
Skavnicki, the only car keeping him outside the top 10 right now. Out in front, though, Senior might just be leading at the halfway mark here shortly, because this race is clicking off very, very quickly. These guys have just been on it. I know we've had some cautions so far. I can't remember how many cautions we've had this far, though. But, oh, there it is. Thank you. 7 cautions for 26 laps with 4 lead changes in 105 laps. But it truly feels like we have not been sitting around under caution all that time. We've had 7 cautions for only 26 laps. That equates for about a quarter of the laps we've run already, but it doesn't feel that way. These
Honestly,
guys have been running really, really good.
I think what has made these broadcasts feel like they take less time now is actually adding the Harpoon design countdown to green. Even though it's adding more time to our overall broadcast length, I feel like it's actually making it feel like it goes faster because we have that breakup of a little bit of pre-race show, a little bit of racing. You know, it almost feels like it goes a little bit faster. So here's a great battle. Josh Conover has surged ahead to the lead in this 5 tournament. He's now ahead of Brian Jones and working on clearing Josh Adams. He'll do so down here this lap 109, and now Jones has got to figure out how to get back to him.
So is this sponsor money that they're putting up, or is this Josh Conover's own money? Because if he wins, What does he do? Pay himself $50?
Well, it's from
No.
Sparks Builders. Don't forget, this is the Sparks Builders 5 tournament. That's Wayne Sparks.
You should have let me finish the joke. I was going to say, if it's Conover's own money, you could say, how's he going to give himself money? Is he going to ask his wife for it? Maybe he just gives his wife $50 instead?
Well, actually, I already have the question I want to ask if he gets to that point in time. If he ends up winning it tonight, I know exactly what I'm asking him. And
I was trying to
Bree,
make a marriage joke.
well, Bree, if you're listening, yes, it involves you. So, anyways, battle here for the 5th spot. Brian Jones get away from Josh Adams, 3 wide off of 2. Hernandez on the wall hard. That's right in front of the 37 of Tucker and the 11 of Christenberry, who loses that spot. Christenberry wondering what he's got to do to just have a quiet day where he's actually competitive. Go back to Indianapolis, got taken out by the 40 car. The 40 has not been in the field since. Tisk Fisk. Here, a lapped car holds up the 11 just slightly. Regardless, everybody getting their laps in here. The back end of this. Oh, right hook in the back! In the wall hard! Matthew George, I just saw at the top of the frame. We might not even have a caution for this. But the leaders have got to come around eventually. There goes Perkins or Shell. He can't turn down yet. That was Housen. That was Powell. Here comes the leader, Hunter Sr. Get down the racetrack now, Matthew. This is going to be a mess. We'll wait and see exactly how this goes before we go to replay. He's gotten down to the bottom there in 1 and 2. It's not turning. It's not turning. This is a hazard to everybody on the racetrack. In my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe he gets it figured out. I don't know. But he is super slow. Yeah, no, you just need to pull that thing down.
He's pulling off the pace now. He's down on the apron. And there goes the 25 to the pit lane to get that damage fixed. And now we can finally take a step away and take a look at how this all got started. This is LJ Hernandez on the outside of the 25. Just pulls down the racetrack a little bit. I'm surprised that was not a caution.
Yeah, me too. And look, I know LJ is doing his best, and I think we've come to be kind of distant friends at this point between us, the broadcasters, and him, the driver. He's just one of the good guys around the series. So we do have a caution now. This is going to involve Matthew George and maybe Kyle Rochelle, possibly. But yeah, I mean, LJ just hung a left there on the straightaway. He was actually trying to get down and pit. How about that? So, hate to see that for LJ and for Matthew George. Here is Kyle Rochelle. He's already taken it down to the pit lane. I'd imagine he towed to get there, and yes, he did. Let's go back and see what happened to him. This is loose off the corner. Housden in it again. And there's the leader, Hunter Sr. going by. Oh my gosh. This is not the first time we've seen the 12 get loose on his own tonight. Well, that's behind the big screen. Come on, Colossus, get out of the way. Just got loose on the apron, much like his self-spin earlier, and, well, thankfully everyone gets by it. Except for Ryan Housden.
Housden picked to win.
Yeah, he's having a rough night. Actually, his car is dragging on the left front. I just heard an engine expire somewhere. Oh, yeah, he's got no left front tire. Okay. Well, he'll be there for a while.
Yeah, let me just go look at my fantasy picks real quick.
LJ Hernandez, by the way, is waiting to talk to us. I want to see this again. I didn't realize he lost the left front in that crash. And yeah, afterwards, there you see. It was a big enough hit. It was dragging all down the racetrack. So that is Ryan Housden's fate here this evening, unfortunately. Pit stops galore. Everybody has come in, it seems. Jacob Gladulich pacing on through. A lot of drivers in their boxes still, as it looks like Gladulich comes in the second lap around, and there's the race off. Senior out ahead of Malone, Conover, Jones, and Tucker, your top 5 that exit. Gladulich, let's see if he cycles around again or if he pits this time. While we wait, let's go ahead and talk with the driver of the number 6. We saw the incident there off of turn 4, LJ. I know this is not at all how you wanted the evening to go, but boy, is there any way it gets righted here soon?
Honestly, that was, I mean, I was trying my best to stay on the bottom, coming out of pit road, but I guess I just got a little too high up. And apologies to the 12 if I, absolutely ruined his race. I know it's hard, how do you say, like, I'm trying to think of the words here, but feel bad taking someone out of the race when they had a decent running position for sure.
It looks like we're about to go back green. Let's wait and see. And yeah, we're going to go green. LJ, best of luck. Hopefully we're talking to you later.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Back green flag. Hunter Sr. at the front of the field. How about the battle for second, or rather third already down the backstretch? Josh Kahn over Brian Jones. That got back green in a hurry. Blade Timmons in the top 10. Currently, Zach we're racing for the lead.
Senior still out in front of Malone. And they are just a few car lengths apart as they're still side by side for the third spot. We talked about it earlier in the show, how this was a little bit out of his comfort zone, Andrew, but how about Tucker? He has worked himself up to the 5th spot, and he is currently getting himself involved in the fight for third as he slips up the racetrack. Here comes Adams to the inside.
That was a really, really big moment. I bet you, Zach, if you end up talking to him later, if you ask him about lap 127, turn 1, he's going to have a comment. That's a moment that as a driver, you take a moment and you don't even care about the line you're on as we're back under caution. Unfortunately, Nick Geilis in trouble. But that's a moment as a driver, Zach, I'm sure you can agree. You look down at you just take it like an index of everything. Like basically timestamp that in your mind of, oh my gosh, that could have been really bad.
Oh shoot, that just happened.
Yeah, to paraphrase.
Well, if you want the technical term, that is what we call a code brown.
Yeah. Here's Geilis loose into turn 1, I believe that was, and backs it into the wall.
Yeah, we've been seeing that a lot. You watched it as he went into the corner. The car just set down under braking. You could say it just bottomed out a little bit, and he lost it. It's been a common occurrence all race long. We've seen it time and time again.
Well, I have a different theory, and that is that these guys are running a metric boatload, we'll say, of rear brake. The way these guys, as soon as the car really loads in the banking, you can tell there are a handful of drivers that just immediately get free. Now, we did see Tucker get loose moments ago, but it seems like most of the guys up front are managing it, and I gotta be honest, I'm sorry back markers that are spinning, but it's back markers that are spinning so far. It's mostly drivers, deeper in the field that are getting loose. I would imagine they are also the drivers that are cranking rear brake bias in to try and get it to turn, and I'd be right there myself, admittedly. But it seems like they have a lot of rear brake in it. As soon as it sets in the banking, that there is that transitionary period of the banking where it actually goes from whatever it is in the straightaway 10 or whatever to 33 in the bottom of the corner. They get through that transition. As soon as it really sets, it's just off to the races.
Why use rear brake when front brake work?
Well, I mean, I know you know why, but for those at home who don't, why would you pump a bunch of rear brake in if you're tight?
Well, when you pump a bunch of rear brake into the race car, it starts changing how it drives through the corner. A lot of guys will take front brake out of the car when they want to drive it in harder into the corner. However, when you put more rear brake in the car, it makes the car looser on entry. So if you're feeling a little tight on entry, take front brake out. If you're feeling loose on entry, put front brake in to help. Well, hold on. Yes, I said that right. Loose on entry, brake in, tight brake out. It's a weird type of setup adjustment with race cars. One that I still haven't fully wrapped my head around, but I still do it anyway.
There we go. Restart on the way. It'll be 3, 6, and 92 on the bottom. Green flag for Hunter Sr. We are racing again at Bristol. A bad restart for Corey Powell, but Cody Anderson stays right with the leaders for a moment, and Anderson, I don't know if he had any effect on Hunter Sr., but Sr. just straight up lost the lead to Malone.
I think he intimidated the wrong guy.
Yeah, for real. That was really strange. Malone straight to the lead here. Most of these guys, in fact, the whole top 12 on the same set of tires. Christenberry, the first driver on any kind of new tires, in the number 11 farther back. That is a really surprising thing to have seen on the restart for me. I did not expect the 33 to just kind of roll over like that.
And this would be the point in time in a NASCAR Cup Series broadcast where Fox or NBC or Prime would cut to the crew chief of the 18 to see him screaming up and down on the box, because that was a fantastic move. And Malone is clicking off laps now. Doubled down on the fastest lap of the race. Not to mention, he's just ripping right now. I think really what happened on that restart, Andrew, was that Senior was just trying to take it easy going into the corner, and Malone just ripped it on the top. I mean, he drove it in there, he rolled the center really well, and got great exit rotation.
Whatever's working, don't stop. Jacob Malone driving away from our pole sitter and most dominant car so far this evening, as there's a battle for third starting to pick up. Once again, Jones and Conover. I feel like we're going to have this kind of side story all night long. These two battling for the 5 and a couple of other guys battling for the win.
We've got 2 fights for the lead up front. We got the lead for the 5 and the lead for the race. And, you know, another talking point that we could absolutely interject into this is we have constantly, ever since, I think, the first road course race that we saw that 18 car win, which, oh, you're going to have to remind me, that was Montreal that we saw him dominate at.
I think it would have been Sonoma, would it not?
Sonoma was on my mind, but I wasn't sure for a moment. But
I believe it was Sonoma, then Montreal.
Yeah, it's been the discussion point of when will we see this guy win on an oval. We thought it may come at Chicagoland, but Durham was able to take that one away from this guy. So when will we see Jacob Malone punch through at an oval? He's definitely punching above his weight right now. He's shown the consistency. He's shown the speed. Now he just needs to close the deal as we're approaching halfway in the race.
Getting more and more laps in here at this midpoint of the evening. Malone trying to get back away from Senior, who picked back up there recently. There you see the whole top 5 dive off into turns 1 and 2. I even mentioned in our fantasy chats last week ahead of the race at Michigan, you know, we had the whole seat swap situation as, man, Malone got free off of turn 4 there. I guess that's what running hard does to your tires. Malone had picked drivers in wrong places at first, so I was trying to correct him, make sure he had his picks right, and he said, you know, what more do you want from me? And my comment back was a win on an oval. And it would be nice to see him get a win on an oval. It'd be nice to see him finally show that, yeah, he's more than a one-trick pony. And in this case, maybe even a zebra.
Oh, a Madagascar joke. I was like, wait a second, what?
Have you looked at his car recently?
Yes.
I wonder if Kayla has the race on right now in the living room for Drew to watch. Maybe I'll text her. He loves that movie. All, 3 of them, 4 of them, however many there are?
I mean, are we counting the spin-offs with the Penguins of Madagascar?
Oh, he loves them too. He loves them. Look, Kayla's nickname for like a solid month was Pico. Now, you might be asking, the Gallo? No. Pico as in Rico, the penguin from Madagascar. Look, he's 3. All right? Cut him some slack as we are on the halfway lap this time. It'll be cross flags as we round the flag stand this time.
Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
And Malone, Jones, both in the wall. They're off of turn 4. This is actually a really cool vantage point just to watch these guys exit the corner. The track just spits you out towards that concrete wall, which I guess now is safer barrier, but now you see him loop back around. It's still Malone out front.
And Malone over Senior, Jones, Conover, Adams, Tucker, Durhan, Baumler, Timmons, and Norman. Your top 10 on the running order right now. One driver that we have talked about a little bit as well, John Skavnicki. He has fallen outside the top 10 into the clutches of Jake Christenberry. Ronnie Norman, you talked about it. He's put himself into the top 10. This is Brian Jones starting to go backwards. This is interesting because not even 2 laps ago, Jones was up in 3rd. Now Conover leads to 5. Adams into 4th. Tucker looking to pass up the 45 and take that 5th position.
Yeah, there's Dalton Tucker to the inside. You see the groove is moving up the racetrack as this race goes on, as this run goes on. These guys have run most of these 30 laps on their tires under green, and if you look at the weather conditions, the track temp's still kind of high as Brian Jones has to create his own room to pass up Corey Powell. The track temp's still pretty high, 97, but that air temp you can see dropping a little bit lower down to 76.7, still partly cloudy skies, the wind kind of high, but as the evening goes on, those temps are going to keep dropping, and especially if we get some more cautions, that'll actually make the track change more because it'll start to lose heat, especially as the evening cools. That's going to change the track that much more. If we stay green, it will stay relatively constant, relatively consistent over the course of the night because that heat has nowhere to go and it keeps getting heat put back down into it. But if we get more cautions, that'll actually change the track more, allow the track to cool down, and then it won't gain as much heat back.
Okay, this is going to be a bit of a fourth wall moment right here, but I have a genuine question. How does the dynamic track system work in that way? Because you can say that the track temp is 97, but there are grooves on the track that are not always being touched at a constant point in time. The main groove is being touched by all the race cars, which keeps heat in that groove, but there are sections of the track not always being touched, meaning it will lose heat faster. So I'm wondering if the dynamic track factors in for that.
The story I've always gone with, and I believe is the case on iRacing, is that it's an average of the entire track. I believe. I could be wrong. If somebody has more knowledge on that, by all means, but I believe that track temp is an average of the entire racetrack, and that's just what it gives you, as you know, that is the track temp everybody has. I mean, that's the average temp across the track. I'd say that's a pretty fair consideration of what the track temp should be listed at, as Josh Adams is here working on the back end of Josh Conover. This is for third. The battle you were looking at briefly was Vincent Arthur, Jacob Gladjunch, and Caden Henry Oakes. That was 13th, 14th, 15th. Some of the final cars currently on the lead lap. And our leaders, they are in lap traffic once again, passing Nick Hom. That was close off of turn 4. And a pass for 5th, maybe. Dalton Tucker still going to work on Brian Jones. And that car right behind, the number 3, is no longer Dalton Tucker, first of all. And also not for position currently. That is Cody Anderson, who is currently 13 laps down.
All I can say is just at this point, Conover is licking his chops when it comes to the race for the 5, because the more positions that Brian Jones loses, the more comfortable that 48 car gets. Riding on board with Anderson, he's one of the drivers in for the 5, but he is many laps down. Housden is out of the race, the only other driver in contention at the moment. That is going to be Vincent Arthur. He's sitting in the 14th position, about 11 spots behind Conover.
There they go, passing Nick Hom. Up the racetrack goes Brian Jones. He's going to open the door to Dalton Tucker, but a battle now for the race lead started to pick back up. Here is Hunter Sr. looking at the inside there of Jacob Malone out of turn number 2, and now Sr. goes high. Malone back to the bottom.
And you know, Andrew, we've talked about this a lot, especially with one of the Whiplash Racing drivers, Chris Winstone, when it comes to road course racing, as he is a road course racing aficionado, that being good on a road course can teach you a lot when it comes to oval racing, but there are still a lot of complexities about oval racing that are hard to get down, and one of them can be tire saving, as it feels like Hunter Sr. has done a much better job of keeping a handle on those tires rather than what Malone has done to keep himself in front. So, I don't know, as this race goes on and the laps keep looking off, you gotta wonder, is Senior's long run pace going to be overall better than Malone's, especially as they're starting to catch lap traffic?
And in the wall there, Corey Powell right ahead of this group. The 92 maybe going to hold up Josh Conover. That was a squeeze. Oh my gosh, that was scary. Josh Adams, Dalton Tucker, they get by, but not with a whole lot of room to spare. That was really, really close there off of turn number 4. Powell back there letting the other Taco Bell car go by, and the 81 of Kevin Baumler. And for the race lead, again, Malone and Senior still going at it, bumper to bumper. They've got more traffic ahead. That will be Caden Henry Oaks and Vincent Arthur directly ahead of these two. That's going to be tricky. And I definitely think Senior is a lot more measured in his approach to this racetrack in general. So as this run goes on, absolutely, he looks better, and Malone looks less and less consistent. I really think Hunter Senior might be in for a win tonight.
Look at the top line, though. It is so good at holding off that inside run. I mean, Malone gets such a good run that he gets clear of the 33 by corner exit. Oh, he switched to the bottom, though. That was a mistake.
Yes, it was.
Malone just sold it.
They've been kind of back and forth, those switching lines, and that time Hunter Senior's got him clear. Malone going to be left in the dust. Senior takes over lap 176 of 300. We're quickly getting down to 100 to go. In about 30 more laps, I'd say these guys are safe to pit whenever and go to the end if they wanted.
Yeah, and I think Malone there, I don't know. I'm actually very much wondering what went through his head, and if we get the chance to talk to him post-race, I will very much want to ask him what the mindset was to give up that bottom line, or to give up that top line, as Conover's doing right now with Adams. Do they just think the bottom is faster right now? No, the top line is where the money's at the moment.
I get it, though. At Bristol, your mind kind of takes over, and you traditionally think, go to the bottom, protect it. Even here, Jacob Malone giving Dalton Tucker the top side, and how about it? 2 weeks in a row, Dalton Tucker not the favorite at the start of the race, yet here he is, driving right back through. He's in second in search of the lead.
We haven't really talked about him as a race-winning contender so far, as up front, this is holding up Senior and letting Tucker reel them in. Vincent Arthur trying to hang himself onto the lead lap. He's going to go a lap down right here. Now he has to start giving way to the lead lap cars. He's going to let Tucker to the inside. He's still going to fight with him. And now that's going to hold the 37 up. Whatever Vincent Arthur can do to prevent them from catching the next car in line, he's going to try and do it to keep himself in contention for that free pass. The next car up the road, that's Caden Henry Oaks. How far up? About a second in front of Hunter Senior.
We've got a little bit of time before they get to the 5 car, and I'm sure some of these guys in this top 10 are screaming, can we get a caution? Can we get a caution? Just something as Dalton Tucker works to the inside of Hunter Senior. I would think Senior wants a caution right now. Put these guys back on even footing. This could be an 8th win on the year for Dalton Tucker if he can just get clear of Hunter Senior and hang on for another 115 laps. By the way, 3 weeks ago, if you had told me these two cars, these two paint schemes, would be fighting for the lead at Bristol with just over 100 to go, I'd call you crazy.
You call me crazy anyway.
Well, but in a general sense, Dalton Tucker takes over lap 185. Wow.
You still call me crazy in a general sense.
Well, but I'm saying if anybody else had said it, I would call them crazy too, because I still cannot believe that we just watched the number 37 take over, and there's the yellow they needed. Caution is out. I'm not sure where it even is yet. I think it might have been Josh Conover.
Don't do this to me.
He is suddenly off the pace. Actually, it's a stack up with Malone in the 18 and Adams in the 23. Here you go. That's loose off at turn 4. Watch around here for turn 2. Adams on Malone's back bumper. A tap, and boy, if that isn't classic Bristol, I don't know what is. Surprised that was even a caution.
Everyone scattered right there. Did a great job not to run into the two of them.
I am so surprised that is even a yellow. Right there's the contact. Malone sideways. I guess I get it, but we've seen
Hold on.
no cautions for less.
Was Vincent Arthur the free pass there? Did
yes.
Tucker took the lead?
Yes. They did not quite get Henry Oaks locked down.
How about that? That's a lucky break right there for the 24.
Well, pit stops underway. There is the number 37 of Dalton Tucker leading under this caution. Still just utterly shocked that it's these two potentially racing for the win tonight. But this caution, you know, cautions breed cautions. This absolutely could be a tipping point for somebody else in this race tonight to get up there and shake things up. Here is Senior into the box, followed by Baumler. What will the run off the pit lane look like? Trying to find the right angle to do this. I think this will be it. Here comes Tucker, and he will win the race right back off a pit lane. No real excitement there. It's Malone just barely over Adams, it looks like, for third. Actually, I'm not sure who got that spot between those two, and I mean, I would imagine Adams will be at fault for the crash, so I'd think he would go to the back, right? Oh man, Christenberry, by the way, he's got some big right front damage. And he actually just spent 30 seconds in the pit lane trying to repair it. So he is towards the back of the lead lap now. He is now 15th. Well, Zach, we're about to go back green here. We'll have 110 laps to go. I want to check that weather condition again. Here we go. There you see the track temp in just that one caution, down about 7 degrees, maybe more. It cooled off big time right there with just those couple of laps of yellow, and we're about to warm it right back up. Caution again, or green flag again rather, here at Bristol, racing with 110 to go. You were saying?
I don't remember what I was saying.
Well, I tried to give you your moment.
I know. And I sold the farm. I remember what I was saying. I wanted to give a shout out to Cody Anderson, Corey Powell, and I was going to say Caden Perkins, but he's back on the pit lane. But these guys have been in a bit of a battle of attrition, I'll say. Anderson started 18th. He's only up to 17th, but he's 13 laps down. He's the first car lap down, and he is still running in this race. He is still trying to get any points he can. And then Corey Powell making his debut in the NORA Retro Cup Series tonight. He is currently sitting quite a few laps down. He's actually pulling it back down to the pit lane. He's 31 laps down, but he's sitting in the top 20. He's doing a good job. He's up 10 spots. It's been a rough night, but he's making the most of it.
And we're being told that Caden Perkins is done for the night. He made it about 155 laps, so a little past half of this race. Oh, in the wall! Jacob Adams, or Josh Adams, I don't know what just happened to him. Oh, and Baumler hooks Durheim into the wall. They both go. Josh Adams is destroyed. Chase Durheim is destroyed. No caution. Two of the best cars here. Major contact. And Durheim is just moving on like nothing happened, but oh, and there goes Adams! Sliding again, still no yellow! What is going on?
We are just all over the place right now.
I mean, look, admittedly, I'm not a driver, so I'm not fully up to date on the rule book. Do we not do any admin yellows ever? I mean, golly. Let's go back and see what happened there between Baumler and Durheim to start all of that. Watch the 81. Off of turn 2 here, Kevin Baumler trying to avoid Josh Adams, maybe, and... yeah, that's interesting.
A couple of drivers had to get their black flags cleared as well. Adams in the wall, there's just, it's a box. I mean, Baumler is turning to go down the racetrack to avoid the car in the wall, but Durheim is coming up to cover off the spot and keep the car behind him pinned. So this is a lap prior, this is actually as it's happening.
I barely see that RPM needle move. Look, man, if you're gonna cut down like that, you gotta lift. That's rough, and I actually want to see what happened to the 23 to cause that. This will be next time around down in turns 1 and 2. I want to see this moment for Josh Adams. This looked like a similar moment It's what Dalton Tucker had a little while ago, where it's one of those oh shoots, and yeah, I mean, it took off on him. He got the wall there, thankfully saved it, but then gets the 16 sent up into him. That shears off the rear bumper of the 23, shears off the front bumper of the 16, and it just got worse from there. But we stay green, so we'll get back to live picture here with now 205 in the books, just about. There's Durheim down in 14th spot. He might have continued initially like there was no issue, but there's an issue. Josh Adams behind him, down to 15th. That is terrible for those couple of cars.
At risk at going laps down. There is Tucker, your race leader. And he's within striking distance of these guys. They're about 11 to 12 seconds off the leader, so only a few seconds in front. You just saw him at a camera shot. There you see Hunter Sr., 1.4 seconds behind this 37. We didn't talk about this guy all night. Well, okay, we didn't talk about him in terms of win contention. Tucker just kind of came out of nowhere. He was running outside the top 10 at the start of the race. He's now led 23 laps on the night after taking the lead before the caution flag came out for the last restart. I don't fully know what to say. Every time we expect to see this guy not running good, he tends to kind of shut us up pretty quick.
It's like he listens for any time we think the field might be safe from a Dalton Tucker win, and that's when he pounces. Made it 7 wins last week at Michigan, looking for 8 here tonight. And I know that, I'm not going to name anybody, but I know there are drivers in this series just kind of waiting to see if he can actually hit 10 this year, and I mean, if he gets this win tonight, I think that's a lock for sure. If he wins this race, there are easily 2 more on the next 12 that he can win.
Are you trying to commentator curse him like you've done for quite a bit of the field tonight?
Absolutely not. I just know there are some drivers that will be none too pleased around the field if he actually hits double digits. Meanwhile, Baumler was the driver that got into the right rear of Durheim, and I mean, Baumler's 4th, Durheim is 15th, a lap down, Adams with him. That's, you know, Bristol giveth and Bristol taketh, I guess.
Well, Bristol is giving Josh Conover a good run at the 5 here.
You see Durheim down on the apron. That's 2 rough weeks for him now, where he definitely should not have been crashed in either one of these races, but that's, again, how it goes. I do want to stress, you know, we've gotten to know all these guys very, very well at this point, and Kevin and I will go back and forth at random things sometimes. I consider all of these guys friends at this point. I hate to be so blunt, but like I said, if you're going to turn left like that, you got to lift. As much as I hate to get on Kevin's case, I also hate it for Chase. That's exactly where that comes from.
Well, still a lot of racing left to go as somebody just blew a motor. I think it was someone sitting in the pit lane. But this is a bit of a fight for position right now. Caden Henry Oaks in the 12th spot. Gladulich in the 13th spot. And they are just running each other down, trying to get some track position here. Gladulich, I know, has been one of the stronger contenders so far this season, out of Chase contention. But still ripping pretty good up to the high side once again. And he is going to get the nose in front of the 5 car, potentially get the position here. And yes, he will. Gladulich in that 20 car up to the 12th position.
Just another rough night for Caden Henry Oaks. I mean, I can't say that he's done anything wrong, really, in most of these races that he's run. He's had a couple of cautions, I suppose, for cause, but really just has had a lot of bad luck. Now, Zach, I don't mean to gloat, but we talk about this fantasy game that we have, and it's all for a diecast, by the way. I want to mention that. It's all for a diecast. I will personally make sure there's a diecast for each of these fantasy games that we do that will get mailed down. We'll figure out shipping costs and all that later on, but I'm having a good night. I'm having a great night. Buddy, I've got Hunter Sr., I've got Brian Jones, and I've got John Skavnicki. And I won, was it within the NORA game last? I think it was, right? Yeah, I won within the NORA game last week. I'm trying to put it all together. You won recently in our NASCAR game. I won in our NORA game at Michigan last week, and I gotta feel like I got another one coming. I will say, I picked Tucker for the fastest lap. Malone's got that. And I have got Jones to win. That might be where I'm slacking. Last week I had the extra picks perfect. I had Conover for the fastest lap and Tucker for the win. I think tonight maybe I got that a little bit wrong.
I think it's just hard not to pick Tucker for the win, as we ride on board here with Blade Timmons trying to hunt down Ronnie Norman for that 8th position. See potentially what he can do. Norman back up to that top line, starting to rotate really well and pull away from the 29. I think these guys are starting to realize that the top line is finally starting to work for them rather than against them, as it has been the majority of the race. But this whole race has truly taken a weird shape. We didn't expect Tucker out front. We didn't expect Senior Malone to be racing for the lead. Baumler, Conover, and Jones are about where they've stayed relatively compared to their starting position. Skavnicki is up into the 7th spot. Ronnie Norman is sitting 8th. Blade Timmons in 9th. And Jake Christenberry, after getting some right front damage, you talked about it early on, he's recovered back up into the top 10, and he's running for 9th right now.
And you know what, Zach, just looking at timing and scoring, we have about 12 to 13 competitive cars left in the race, a couple of stragglers, and then, I mean, even Hom is in the pit lane right now from 14th, so he's going to go several more laps down, I'm sure. He's already 7 down. Josh Adams has pulled off. He's 12 laps down in 15th. The next one behind Hom. And Hom is the first one a lap down. Behind Cody Anderson, who's 16th. Everybody's parked or out of the race or, you know, just not running. So, you know, frankly, we have all the damaged cars out of the race. Everybody's already given up the goose. Called it a night. We see the YouTube comment, actually, from Chase Durheim that it's an opportunity for him to help put the kids to bed. Fair enough. I can't blame him. We have a great battle here, though. That could be a caution at any time.
Well, you say that, and they were right on each other's bumpers right there. Timmons off the wall to the inside of Ronnie Norman. Can't quite get it done. Christenberry to the inside now. This 3-car fight is nothing to look away from right now. It's probably one of the more interesting battles on track at the moment.
It is. I will say Caden Henry Oaks has since gone a lap down, so he's now the first one a lap down. Next up to go a lap down will be Vincent Arthur. There he is. And yeah, just like Chase just said in YouTube chat, now that a bunch of these cars have called it a night, a lot of the damaged cars on the track and a lot of guys who are just a little bit less confident in the car, I think we have a pretty green flag look, and honestly, we might have to see some green flag stops before the end of this race. We went green right at the threshold for what these guys can do in a run, and I guarantee you they're not thinking about fuel because it's Bristol, baby.
They got to be thinking about something right now. And that is getting closer and closer to the end of this race, Andrew. Laps are ticking off faster than we can think about them. I mean, we're approaching 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and these guys have been green for a total of 1 hour and 20 minutes. I mean, this race has absolutely clicked off as fast as possible, even with the caution laps. I mean, at this rate, we're going to end up finishing, I don't know, within the next 15, 20 minutes.
Boy, you have never been to a kart race, and it shows. A dirt oval kart race, that is. You never talk about how fast the night is going. I did not leave the racetrack this past Friday night until 3 in the morning. I still had to drive a half hour to the hotel and check in.
Well, it wouldn't be Pit Stop TV without some sort of issue.
Hey! You watch your mouth. We've had a good night so far.
Well, you, specifically, are majority Pit Stop TV, so you had an issue at the racetrack that you weren't able to leave.
Like 4 nights ago. Three nights ago.
It's the joke, man. It's the inside joke.
I suppose. Dalton Tucker, how about this? Putting Vincent Arthur a lap down. here with 60 to go at Bristol. That stings. Admittedly, I think it would sting less if Tucker was still in the 3 car, because at least then that's a car that you're used to seeing at the front and potentially putting the 24 lap down. Maybe not in 2026, but certainly in the 90s. And, I mean, even in the 90s, that's a stretch, because, I mean, Jeff Gordon is Jeff Gordon.
Well, if we go off the trends of the race, we're going to get a caution that'll put Vincent back on the lead lap.
I mean, 10 cautions so far. You know, Caden Henry Oaks and I were talking on the phone earlier, I mean, right before this broadcast and race. And, you know, I was looking back at the stats from the Bristol Spring Race here. And on Sim Racer Hub, it says 11, or it says 41 cautions. 41 yellows. And I know for a fact we didn't have 41 cautions. I think we had about this same amount, around 10-ish. And I think every time the admins went in and triggered an extra lap of caution for an extra review or whatever, I think that counted as a yellow, technically, in SRH. But yeah, no, I know there was no way there were 41 cautions for 41 laps. So I think we're about at that same number, maybe even coming in a little bit shy of it. So maybe doing a little better than spring. Meanwhile, in that hunt for the extra $50 from Sparks Builders this evening, it is all Josh Conover, and a big thank you to all of our partners, specifically Sparks Builders this evening. Harpoon Design, partnering for the entire season, bringing us on, and I mean, really, it was Harpoon and Brantley Rodden that were, I think, the key factor in allowing NORA to get us on for 2026. Sparks Builders goes a long way as well. Wayne Sparks, we wish him the best. I know he's been kind of hit or miss over the summer. Glad to have the Sparks Builders, the 5 tournament going this evening with, you've seen the 5 drivers all night long, Conover, Jones, Arthur, Anderson, and Housden. And I mean, it's been trouble after trouble for Housden, Anderson, and Arthur. As there is a caution, there it is, finally, it's Nick Hom. Boy, oh
and
boy.
Guess who's getting the free pass?
Oh yeah, you called it. Right behind his teammate John Skavnicki, who runs 7th. There you see Hom just free off of turn number 2, spins it around in the wall, and keeps it rolling. That is enough, though, to put us under yellow. And this will give everybody an opportunity for 4 tires and fuel. This saves us from having to worry about a green flag pit stop cycle, which is probably for the best, honestly, considering when it would have happened if it did. But here we go, Zach, pit stops. By the way, Kevin Baumler is up to 3rd. I can only imagine how Chase Durheim feels about that, but up to 3rd. And, you know, I've been very critical of that DEI operation this season. What a chance it is for him to maybe go for a win. Should he take 2 tires possibly, get in and out of the pit lane before the rest of these guys?
No, 2 tires would potentially be the move here. If we get a green flag run.
If I recall correctly, that actually saved some nights last week at Michigan.
That it did. A couple of front runners got their top finishing positions due to a 2-tire call. Now let's see how it goes coming out of the pit lane. Jacks are down.
Looks like everybody's taking 4. Tucker down and away. Senior going to follow. Here comes Malone.
Baumler might lose positions here.
I don't know. That was close. I think Baumler might just hang on to the 3rd spot over Jacob Malone. So good for Cavan. I want to dial somebody up, though, that is going for $50 and has got it right in front of him. He has been in the Lone Wolf channel all night long. Let's go ahead and bring it. Actually, been in the Care Center channel all night long. Brian, we've been talking about you a lot lately. Of course, had a good couple of runs lately. Recently got a win as well. Can you get to the 48 car, though? It's like you've been trading this this lead for the 5 all night long.
No. My, my opportunity to do anything was there on that long run, and I just, you know, I don't know. I just, I don't know. 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 I don't Of course, like every other run, we can't keep it green for some reason, so it's just all about short run pace, and maybe that's not what I excel at tonight.
We'll let you get back to it. Best of luck. Brian Jones, some strong words there. Strong frustration for sure. And here we go. Inside of 50 to go. Back racing at the last great Coliseum. Kevin Baumler, he's got trouble on the outside in the form of Jacob Malone as they pass the lapped car of Cody Anderson. There's Malone to the outside of the 81. It'll be a drag race off turn number 2 for position number 3. Malone has got it.
Anderson fighting amongst the front runners, albeit quite a few laps down.
Great battles
But
back
he
here
is
as well.
separating.
All throughout the field right now.
Yeah, Vincent Arthur ends up getting a little bit of a lucky break out of that one, puts himself into the top 10. The fight for third is heating up fourth, between Baumler and Conover. They are getting nitty gritty with each other. Conover to the inside. He's trying to create some distance between himself and Brian Jones, who are separated by the 3-car of Anderson as the caution is back out once again on the front stretch. It's Christenberry in the 11.
I saw one other car slow, but Christenberry, it seems, was the car around, and so sure enough, right back under caution. And I'm sure Brian Jones will be none too happy about all of that. Here is the look off of turn number 4. Christenberry loose and just nowhere for Ronnie Norman to go. Whoa! Shooting the gap was Vincent Arthur. That's going to keep him alive.
I said no more nominations because, you know, Skabnicki very much locks up Murtis Esports, Murtis Mega Mess of the night. But this is a very close second right here. Look at it. Shoots the gap.
Oh.
How about that one?
That was close there for car 24. Vincent Arthur able to get on through. And again, that keeps his night alive. Up into 9th now under this yellow. Look, he's not going to burn the world down. I don't think he's going to get too many more spots. But even to finish top 10 after the night he's had, I think he would take it. This does put Caden Henry Oaks back on the lead lap. Which again, it's not going to burn the world down. Was that a commit cone violation?
'Twas not. He did not get to the commitment cone yet.
Well, he was under the box for sure, but I know iRacing and real boxes are slightly different.
Yeah, if this was IRL NASCAR, this was NASCAR Cup Series, that would definitely be a commitment cone violation because he was past the orange box upon entering pit road. But the commitment cone is weird when it comes to Bristol, especially with entry. So there's the yellow line and there's the orange box right where you see the red lights blinking. But the commitment cone is right by the bled line here at Bristol. So you've got a little extra time to commit to it.
I'm trying to see if I have a camera that'll show it well enough. That's probably the closest I've got, but... Oh, Kevin Baumler suddenly blinking out, perhaps. He's back. But having a bit of a moment. While these guys pace around a little bit longer under this caution, Zach inside of 40 to go. A quick look at what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV. The next 3, I'm going to say primary broadcast, because we're kind of allowing WRL Legends Tour to kind of take that second spot to some of these other shows. And so the 3 primary broadcasts coming up, there you see. Tomorrow night, Echo Park Speedway for the BRB Sundance Pro Series. Yes, you might say Atlanta Motor Speedway, but in iRacing, it's technically Echo Park, and, well... It's Echo Park. So, Legacy Atlanta, regardless, tomorrow night for BRB on the ARCA cars. Wednesday, it's Iowa for the Full Send Cup Series in the NASCAR Cup Series cars. And then Thursday, out to Long Beach Street Circuit with the Porsche Cup cars in the North American Racing League. Here we go, back around to the restart zone. It is Dalton Tucker in control, the rest of the field filling in. Green flag inside of 40 to go at Bristol. Battle for second. Look at these two again. Malone right to the bottom. That might be the field's best chance right now to get that number 37, Malone's short run speed.
He's got not too much time to do it, but hey, that's a short run for you. So maybe he is in the best position as Malone clicks off the fastest lap of the race again, gets loose off of turn number 2. But he is reeling that 37 car in ever so slightly off of turn 4, gains a little bit more. And trying to find his way back to the front of the field and lock down this first oval win. Well, he's starting to lose a little bit of time here, Andrew. I'll say it took him most of the race.
Go ahead.
It took him most of the race, but Dalton Tucker found his speed.
Yeah, much to everybody else's dismay. Here we go. Here's all the top 4 last lap and best lap. This is a great comparison.
Tucker just a little bit quicker than Malone that last lap. Let's see where he's at
nope.
this time.
Last lap, Malone was quicker. 15.1 to 15.2. This time, Malone's still slightly faster, but you see Tucker took the bottom, and Malone had to adjust. 30 to go this time by.
So just keeping the clean air on that nose. Finding your speed, finding where it's at. Those two barely comparative on lap times right there. Tucker just a little bit faster that time. Malone ripping the bottom, closing in. This time by the flag stand, he was nearly a 10th quicker, and it's showing.
Can Jacob Malone get there and bring some fight to Dalton Tucker here this evening? That's what the whole field would want to see. There goes Jacob Malone to the top side. Caught Tucker sleeping, but he backs up the racetrack. What a drift, though, through turns 1 and 2. And you know what? He took a shot.
What a job to hang on to it.
He tried to get there. Backed it in a little too hard, and well, I don't think he's going to get there now. 26 to go that time across the stripe, I do believe. Make that 27, actually, as it was 274. Great battle back here. I'm going to leave the lap times on screen for the time being so you can kind of keep track of Malone and Tucker, but here's a big gaggle. Christenberry, Arthur off the corner, real free. Caden Henry Oaks backs out. This is 2 Hendrick cars, 2 Joe Gibbs cars.
25 laps to go, Andrew. We are running out of time here as this race is winding down.
I think we can go ahead and outdo what you know I'm about to ask you to do. North American Racing League, driver of the day. Who we got?
I got my picks. I'm taking Malone, and I'm taking Conover.
Okay.
These guys have been on it. I mean, Malone has shown some really great speed, and I think he is a solid shoe-in for it. And then Conover, he's had the fight all day with Brian Jones for that driver of the day now. But Conover is in the fight for the 5 with Brian Jones, and those two have just been going at it, going after it. So, and now he's going after it with Kevin Baumler. So I think Malone being up 10 spots, Conover being the shoe-in for potentially getting the 5, got to be no-brainers.
For me, Dalton Tucker is a little too easy. I'm going to go elsewhere. And one spot I'm going to go to is the driver filling in on the 29 car tonight, Blade Timmons. Not burning the world down. I keep using that phrase tonight, but not setting any records. But here he is, top 10,
yeah.
Up
Definitely
16
a hard charger.
positions. Yeah, hard charger for sure. There in the 29 car, a bunch of spots, and he had a great run last week as well in the 33, which has now gone the way of Hunter Senior. Sure, he's kind of back in the end of the top 10 tonight, but 2 really good back-to-back weeks for driver 29, and well, I guess Blade Timmons is a better way to put it. And I'm going to go, I think, 7th place. John Skavnicki, as he's actually working to be 6th, racing here with Brian Jones. Could it be a 6th place finish on the way for the driver of the 38? He's been great tonight. He kind of called his own shot in fantasy, picking himself on his own team, and I took note of that. And because of that confidence, I picked him as well, and it is paying off.
I just want to let you know, I have the broadcast pulled up on my end, and I just clicked over to look at YouTube, and in my recommended section is some NASCAR 03 or clips or whatever, and the thumbnail is just the 38 flipping at Dover.
Well, thankfully,
is that bad omen?
let's put that away. Let's forget we saw that and keep this race moving for John Skavnicki, who's working on Brian Jones for that 6th spot. This is your race leader, though. 15 to go, that time by, and I don't think he's slowing down any time soon. Dalton Tucker out ahead as laps wind down. I'm sure he does not want these guys to be racing as hard as they are, but this could save the field for Dalton Tucker walk-off victory here at Bristol if they do have an incident. I'm not rooting for it, but it would be fun to watch.
Could you say that it would save the field, especially since he's still going to be starting at the front? The restart would still be in his hands as Gladulich is moving on by the 24 car here. I think this is still a good run that Vincent Arthur needs to keep himself in contention for the chase. So regardless of where he ends up at this point out of this 3-car fight, that 24 car is still going to live to fight another day as we rally 2 races before the chase after this, Andrew.
And those are at California and Richmond. 2 tracks that I would think Vincent should be pretty solid at. Just over 10 to go. On board with John Skavnicki once again as he is in pursuit of 6th position. It's just out ahead of him. Brian Jones in that yellow car directly up the road. Quite a ways up to Kevin Baumler. Really shouldn't concern himself with that. And honestly, John's probably thinking, man, this is a win already. Let's just ride around in 7th. But you know drivers, as soon as they get a sniff to the inside, they're going to start thinking about a spot ahead. And sure enough, John's going for it now. Right back to the inside of Brian Jones. Farther up.
10 laps to go.
Look at this
9 now.
Little fight sparking up. These 3 underneath a blanket all of a sudden. Hunter Sr. was closer to Jacob Malone. I think he had a slide there and heated the tires up slightly. He's now fallen back just a little bit. But this is still a fight worth watching as we are inside the final 10 laps here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Can Hunter Sr. get that spot? Is it an incident? Could it put us back under caution? Here comes Sr.
Ripping around the top side. And he is going to take that 2nd spot away. I think Conover wanted to plug the hole sooner so he could try to find a way around that 18 as well. But Tucker, 2 seconds out in front of the field with 6 laps remaining. It would need to be a caution to potentially throw this race into chaos as Conover moves to the bottom on the 18 car. The run up top keeping Malone in the fight for 3rd.
Malone hanging on for now. Josh Conover desperately trying to find a way by. Wants to talk to us, I'm sure. No! And you know what, Zach? Let's also keep in mind, this race qualifies the top 5 in for the next 5 tournament. That'll be at Martinsville later this season. So currently that would be Tucker, Sr., Malone, Conover, and Baumler. That would be a very interesting combination later on this fall as these guys continue to fight it out for 3rd position. Also, Jones and Skavnicki still bumper to bumper, along with Norman and now Blade Timmons here fighting for the 8th position. But Dalton Tucker, 2 laps away from win number 8.
It's just been a dominating season so far, Andrew. There's no stopping this guy.
No, there is not. Quick battle here again between the 18 and 48. On the opposite side of the racetrack, here comes Dalton Tucker. White flag is out. Brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. And every time we think maybe we know a little more than he does, he goes and shows us what for, including the entire field. Schools them tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. Dalton Tucker, win number 8 of 2026.
And Malone just barely gets Josh Conover for that 3rd spot. That top 3 fight was one we were focusing on. Christenberry right there, you saw him get the last position in the top 10. Caden Henry Oaks gets by Vincent Arthur as they all roll past the flag stand. And right back around the top 3, giving Dalton Tucker a bit of a congratulatory bump. And that is win number 8, Andrew, like you said. Conover rolls on by the 37 as well. Everyone just clicking on by to get to their pit boxes. What a season. This guy is just untouchable. You talked about it. Getting the win tonight would more than likely seal the deal for 10 wins on the season, because 2 more wins in the next, 12 races is absolutely more than doable. And there's no one else more capable of doing it than this 37 car right here.
And if the numbers are anything to go off of, he wins 1 in 3. This is win number 8 in 24 races. That is 1 in 3, a 33% win rate. So if you want to go off the numbers, Zach, he should win 4, I guess, of the next 12 races. So he should be, if we're to trust the numbers, he should be at 12 wins before this season is done.
That's a lot of wins.
Yeah, in modern NASCAR, I don't even know who to compare that to. I wouldn't even say a Kyle Larson lately. I don't really think there's been anybody to turn it up quite like that in any recent NASCAR terms.
He's definitely put the pressure on the rest of the field. I'll say that.
Trying to find his way to the victory lane here at Bristol that was opened up to drivers. He's going to go right up the ramp and park in victory lane. That didn't used to be something you could do, as maybe a little bit of Z-fighting there with him trying to get into victory lane, and sure enough, Dalton Tucker parks it right up top of the infield care center, I do believe it is. And he will take the win here at Bristol. Might have had to go through some static cardboard fans to do it, but hey, a win's a win. Victory lane should always be used.
That it should.
We'll take a moment here in just a few to talk to our at least top 3 finishers. Might even go ahead and surprise Josh Conover with a conversation for winning the 5 tonight, but let's go back and take a look at our unofficial race results after 300 circuits here at Bristol Motor Speedway. It's all Dalton Tucker out front, but here's the rest of everybody else. Dalton Tucker wins. Hunter Sr. 2 1/3 seconds back. Malone another second behind him. Just barely hangs on to it over Josh Conover. Kevin Baumler rounds out your top 5. Those 5 drivers now are fighting for the 5 in a couple of months. Martinsville in October. Then it's Brian Jones in 6th. John Skavnicki, Ronnie Norman, Blade Simmons, and Jake Christenberry, your top 10. I mean, some great headlines, I think, in this top 10. Some okay headlines, and I think maybe some disappointment still out of potentially Brian Jones. Misses the 5 and also loses it to Josh and misses the next cut.
Yeah, Josh Conover is going to end up taking the victory for the 5. Some drivers outside the top 10 that were also in the running for it, but ending up not getting that extra $50. Jacob Gladulich, not one of them, but ends up in the 11th spot. Caden Henry Oaks in the 12th position. Vincent Arthur, one of those 5 drivers, he ends up 13th with Nick Hom right behind him, 9 laps down in the 14th spot. Cody Anderson, another 5 driver as well. He ends up 15th on the night with Josh Adams, one of the stronger contenders in the field so far through the evening, ends up 83 laps down with Chase Durheim right behind him, 89 laps down in the 17th position. Corey Powell ends up in the 18th spot, up 10 spots. He finishes 138 laps down, but that's nothing to shy away from on a debut race, up 10 spots with Caden Perkins behind him in the 19th position, and Nick Geilis in that 20th position, 157 laps down. Never even made it to halfway.
Yeah, all these guys back here are out very, very early. LJ Hernandez, he seems to have had a good night on the fantasy side, but not so much on the racetrack. Ryan Housden, yeah, that did not go well. Same for Matthew George, Brock Morris, Kyle Tubb. Well, Tubb was expected to be in that spot. He actually pitted, well, he started and parked. I'm just now noticing Kyle Rochelle has been disqualified for the night. Alex Edelman there, 26. Rochelle disqualified. That's odd.
I was confused.
I wonder if that has to do with all the cell spins, potentially 3. I would have to guess it's something relating to that. That's still, we have not seen that much this season, so I feel like every time we do see it, it's been a while since it happens, and so we're a little confused, but there you see the full rundown of the field here tonight. Dalton Tucker, of course, wins here at Bristol. We'll go ahead and talk to driver 37, second time in 2 weeks, and 8th time this season. If the numbers are to be trusted, there are 4 more on the way. This is number 8 for you, Dalton. Are you getting tired of it yet?
No, I don't think I'll ever get tired of any kind of win, whether it's lucky win or something you really have to fight for. And this one definitely felt good tonight.
and say it felt good, but which category does it fall into? Is it a lucky win or one that you fought for?
I'd say this is more of a show me win than anything. Got told something a couple days ago and really kind of wanted to stick it to him, so that was kind of the motivation for this one.
We mentioned in Gas and Go in pre-race today, is this guy just showing off at this point? Well, that camera's in the middle of the big screen, I guess, but asking if you're pretty much just showing off at this point. There we go, there's your car. You started at the back last week at Michigan, drove through, had the fuel game figured out, won the race. Here, you didn't start from the back, 13th, not the greatest qualifying effort, but not too bad, and outlasted the carnage there early. You win again.
Yeah, you really have to have strategy and a good bit of luck here. It doesn't take much to completely ruin your race, and that whole first half of the race, I was trying to be as safe as I can, just kind of cruise, don't push the car, and luckily it paid off. Usually I end up getting caught up in something on a restart or something like that, but it would everything went perfect tonight.
And again, going back to the numbers, I guess we should expect 4 more for you this season. That would be 1 and 3 the whole way through. If you had to pick 4 tracks off of the schedule on screen now, where do you think you win these next 4?
Dude, it's hard to say. Mile and a halfs are definitely my bread and butter, but they're also a lot of other people's bread and butter, so you can never really assume you're going to win anything. Charlotte, Atlanta, Texas, Miami, Kansas, Rockingham. I like those tracks, but it's very hard to pass if you get kind of stuck behind somebody. Even if you're faster, it's almost impossible to pass them unless they just make a mistake. So it's like I say every time I win, it's nothing's given, and you got to fight for everything.
Fair enough. Dalton, good to talk to you. Congratulations. 8 now on the season, 9 if you want to count the All-Star. Plenty more, I'm sure, on the way.
Appreciate it, Andrew.
Dalton Tucker with a win here this evening at Bristol Motor Speedway, and I know that's going to upset some folks, but if he drives faster, he drives faster. Second place, it's Hunter Senior. Zach, here is driver 33.
Yeah, Hunter was one of the drivers that we expected to be running for the race win, but just falling 1 position short. Hunter, you were in contention for this race win just about the entire race. What happened there? What fell away from you that cost you this one here late in the race?
It's as much as I hate to finish second, there's to only lose to 1 car, and that guy being arguably or without a doubt the best guy in the league. So, to finish second, I came into this race qualified in pole, and I thought I was going to go into the first corner and just spin it like I did when we came here in the spring. So, to be able to go out and lead the most laps and contend for a win, race for a top 5, and finish second is just it's a win in my book. And like I said, the only guy to be able to beat you being the best guy in the league is it's a pretty good feeling.
Absolutely. And rolling out of here, you're going to qualify for the next 5 race. Hopefully you're not going to steal more of my money. I'm not going to be putting any more on the line anyway for that. But we've got 2 races until the chase. I think it's time to start asking, how do you feel about your championship hopes? You've been one of the more consistent drivers, and, maybe potentially we see you running for this championship.
With the manufactured drama that the chase is, it doesn't matter how good you run all season, as long as you show up in those last 10 races, it doesn't matter. So I don't know how to feel about it. We've had our ups and we've had our downs this season, and the one possibility of being able to go into the chase and actually have a good race to be Talladega, and then there's a couple races there like Kansas and Charlotte that I run good at, and there's a couple of tracks in there that I think I can contend for a win, but it's just this whole season hasn't been a representation of what the chase is going to be, and most likely with how it's looking, it's most likely going to be Dalton running away with it, and that's I expected that. This is my first season running full time with these guys, and I'm more than happy with how my season's gone out, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wins this championship and we finish second, finish third, wherever we finish, I think I've had a great season, and I'm happy to be able to contend for it.
Absolutely. And, one more question before we hop out of here for the night. I think walking through this Bristol race, we absolutely were looking at how you guys were managing your tires. And we saw you have a lot more long run pace comparative to some of these other drivers. What was really the most important thing about saving the tires here? And do you feel like the bottom or the top contributed more to those tire savings?
I mean, I'm not really an expert on that, and it's like I said, I'm not really that big of a fan of this track, and I don't really think I don't even know what I'm doing, and it's even finished second, I still don't know what I'm doing. So I ran the bottom and I thought it was working, and then I'm asking everybody in my chat if what their tire wear is, and my tires are burnt off compared to those guys, and ran the bottom the whole time. Then I moved up to the top, and you run faster, but you're burning it off pretty quick. So it's just it's just one of those things. It's like throughout the race that it started changing. The bottom was the best lane in the beginning, and then towards the end there, it seemed like the top was where you wanted to be at, but it changed so much that it didn't. I couldn't figure it out like Dalton did, or the 48. I saw the 48 coming up there too. So those two are pretty good on the long runs, and it was pretty brutal to try to save tires and compete with those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just been a wild race, I think, for a lot of drivers. But congratulations on your second place finish on the night, sir. And hopefully, maybe, just maybe, we'll be talking to you again realistically soon as we roll through these next two races and start thinking about the chase. So congratulations, sir. And hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir. If you don't mind, I'd like to give a big shout out to Bubba Myers Designs for this paint scheme. I know that hopefully you guys like this paint scheme. I think the second place for the first time it's on the track was pretty good, but Myers, thanks to you guys and Juicy Spider and everybody that works with us, and thanks to the league and everybody for having me here.
Absolutely. I'm taking a picture of Kevin Baumler. But Hunter Sr., our second place finisher on the night, Andrew, and I think you will be standing by now with our third place finisher, Mr. Jacob Malone.
Yeah, take Kevin's number, flip it around, and then you get the 18 of Jacob Malone. And here is driver number 18. Boy, that was a really odd race to try and keep up with. It felt like for the longest time it was everybody chasing the 33. Then for a little bit there, you showed you have muscle on the short run, Jacob, and then suddenly you just couldn't do anything with it. What happened?
So, I mean, I was comfortable for like a lap. No, the beginning of the race when it was a little hotter, I had way better short run speed, and I had way better long run speed and no short run speed. But the second I hit nighttime, flipped. So that's kind of where that muscle came from all of a sudden, was just the speed dynamic. And I mean, I was trying to go get Dalton there. He was flying, so I knew the only way I was going to get him if I was just going to go crazy balls to the wall on the short run. I got to him, and then I tried to go around the outside and about wrecked the car getting sideways. So on the edge, that's for sure.
Yeah, and this is a racetrack where we never really know what to expect until we're in the race, but I joked with you last week about getting a win on one of these ovals. I kind of thought a few times this was the night.
Yeah, I hate Bristol. I hate anything that's concrete-based apart from Martinsville. So I love short tracks, just not this one. I'm excited for when are we going back to Darlington sometime, or I know we're going to Martinsville. I think the only time I can get an oval one is Martinsville. I have not. I mean, I had speed at Pocono, and I kind of just threw the race away. But other than that, I don't know where to go from here.
Fair enough. Well, I know California's next up, Richmond, and New Hampshire, Rockingham. Those are the next 4 races. Just in that little snapshot of like the next month or so, how do we feel?
So, I mean, Auto Club could be pretty cool. Richmond, I don't know how about the Gen 4 car, but in other cars, I'm decent. If it's old New Hampshire, that could be pretty cool. Rockingham, nope. No to a Rockingham. I'm going to be terrible at Rockingham, if I'm going to be completely honest. I already know. That's just already X'd off for me. So, I mean, it's kind of a guess type of few weeks, so we'll see. Yeah. No more road courses, unfortunately.
Yeah, there was that. I actually don't know, so I'm checking really quickly on the point of Old New Hampshire. That is if my iRacing UI will handle it. I don't know if we actually have Old New Hampshire anymore.
They got rid of it?
I mean, you can literally see me scrolling here. Let me see. Track map. I didn't need to do that. Yeah, no, they do not have the old oval on here anymore. I didn't think so.
I'm offended. Oh, I'm mad.
I mean, I can tell you Rockingham, Josh always takes the legacy scans of tracks. Rockingham still has the old oval.
Rockingham
Let me
sucks,
verify that.
Whoa!
Yeah,
I
they
hate
have the
this
old
track.
oval.
I will not deal with such slander.
It's terrible. You can't, dude. The hype is so dumb. Like, I understand the North Wilkesboro Glaze, because that's actually a fun track to drive on, like, when it's worn surface and everything. But, like, Rockingham? No. Not on iRacing, at least. In real life, it looks cool, but on iRacing, it's just terrible.
Well,
This hurts.
I think that's going to upset some, but hey, Jacob, good to talk to you as always, and good to see you back in that Madagascar number 18 car. I don't know how much my son was watching, but hopefully that's a kid's fan favorite out there for those that do. 42 laps led on a short track oval. I think that's a pretty good night for you.
Yeah, that is, a pretty good night so far, I guess, for the season standards. I really want to figure out this Gen 4 car. Still has me in a loop here and there. I understand on road courses apart from Watkins Glen, but we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see how the next few weeks pan out, even if they're not my best racetracks.
Fair enough. Just a couple of races to go until the chase. That doesn't mean a whole lot for you, but that's where everybody's really going to get into their zone. Jacob, best of luck. I'm sure it's going to be some tensions on the rise these next few weeks. Hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Yep. Have a good one.
Jacob Malone in car number 18. Another great run out of him. We're going to hope to dial up Josh Conover. It looks like he's still by the sim. I'm going to double check the group chat, and sure enough, he is. And well, he does grab the extra $50 tonight. And Josh, I think we'll both kind of talk to you here a little bit, but I wanted to specifically ask you, $50 in the pocket tonight, is that going towards the diecast fund for Jenna, or is that going towards the, what is it? I can't think now. The Nothing Bunt Cake fund for Bree. Which one?
Oh, I didn't even realize I actually had it. I thought Hunter had qualified for it.
I don't think.
Well,
am I wrong? Based on the list you gave me earlier, we had. Oh, let me see. I put it in my private channel in my Discord. I have 48, 45, 15, 324.
Oh, no, you were right. Okay, I was just dumb all night apparently. For some reason, I was counting him in the running for it. Okay. Well, that changes all of my comments.
Fair.
I don't know, actually. I guess we'll put it towards her first race car fund or something.
There you go. I am admittedly hastily scrolling back through our chat earlier. Zach, what you got for the man?
I got a really nice picture that he's probably going to love me for.
Well, yeah, no, I did confirm. I don't see Hunter Sr. on that list from you earlier today, Josh. Honestly, I kind of thought Hunter would have been in there too. He's had just solid, kind of good random runs through the summer, but I mean, this is one of them, I suppose. Yet here you are, first one to the line for the 5. I know we talked to you at the beginning of the show about this being your first time to do it. This also puts you right back in it. For Martinsville, is there... I know I asked you earlier about kind of forgetting the next couple of races, getting ready for the chase. If for some reason the chase goes absolutely horrendously for you, do you then focus on Martinsville to make sure you get the extra $50 from that race too?
Probably a little bit. I mean, making the chase is the first step. At least then the way I do payouts, I get my entry back. So it's going to be fighting for every inch come chase time, because even one spot could be probably a difference of, either double your entry or even more, depending on, how I break it down. But no, yeah, like I said, I had a brain fart. For some reason, I thought he was in the 5 the whole night, and I'm like pacing myself off of him and trying to pass him, and then it turns out you said I got it and he wasn't in it. So, yeah, it's going to depend on obviously how it goes. Like you said, we could go into New Hampshire and Rockingham. Like I said, I struggle there and have terrible nights. We could be P9, by race 3. So we'll see. If it comes down to it, I'll 100% try and just focus on Martinsville and maybe grab another 50.
I guess that takes the whole past 2 hours and about 7 minutes of strife and puts it in your back pocket. Out to the dumpster, forget about it. Although I guess it also was an extra driving factor for you to get this spot. I mean, based on that, you must have been driving the car for everything it was worth there against the 18.
Yeah, because like I said, I legitimately thought I was trying to battle Hunter. I knew Brian was in it, but like I said, in my eyes from the driver's seat, I thought I was trying to run down the 33, so I was giving it all the tires had left there to get by Jacob, and then I couldn't do it. And I'm like, well, and there was some explicits after that, but I was like, well, I mean, we tried, I guess, for it to be a PG terminology, but yeah, you kind of lightened the mood on that one, so that's one thing to check off, I guess.
I'm glad I can give the good news and lighten the evening because, yeah, I mean, it is Bristol, to be fair, but nobody to be leaving super angry about the evening, right? I mean, always good to lighten the load.
Yeah, I mean, overall, Corey sent the CC list that obviously he had from being live RC, and obviously we had a bunch of grouped up cautions, I guess, but overall, I don't think it was too bad. You obviously have the number, 12. So, I guess for what you can have at Bristol, that's not terrible, I guess. Not even 50 laps under caution, so we had 250 green, I guess you could look at it that way.
Yeah, I don't know if you're able to check this. I was talking with Caden Henry Oaks this afternoon, about caused cautions at Bristol in the spring. Sim Racer Hub, because I think of the extra cautions that had to be inserted, or more so the extra caution laps when needed. The Sim Racer Hub says 41, but only 44 laps. It feels like that was actually better than tonight, technically by like 1 or 2 yellows.
Yeah, I think I posted actually what it was last time we were here. I want to say it was probably about what you said, like 12 or so. Trying to actually scroll real quick and not take up too much more time.
I just went back and race penalties, and I don't see a number. I don't really want to count.
23.
Oh, well. But I guess we all got better, huh?
Yeah, even tonight there was a couple of self spins that, I kind of tried saying in the beginning. It was a little tight in the middle, depending on how you entered the corner and such. So, guys had the wheel cranked in, get off the corner, and it breaks loose. So I was trying to help guys through that. But, you take away a couple of those, and we're probably under 10. So, 36 cars here in the spring with whatever I said, 23 cautions. We had 28 take the green tonight and only had 12. So we're trending in the good direction, I guess.
Fair enough. Josh, good to talk to you. I know the initial mood, I think, after Bristol was, this is the last Great Coliseum, let's go ahead and get a shield and sword and chariot, let's go fighting. But, well, you get the $50, some die cast or race car money for Jenna, and move on to the next.
Yeah, we'll even probably split it up and get Bria Bun Cake too. But I appreciate you guys if they saved my night on that one.
Fair enough. Always good to go to bed with a lighter mood. That's Josh Conover. There you see him on screen racing Jacob Malone earlier on in that final run to the end. And Zach, I can also go ahead and crown Jacob Malone as tonight's driver of the day, brought to you by North American Racing League. And you know what? That's deserved, I think. Maybe not exactly from Josh Conover at first, but maybe now he can kind of look back and change his outlook on that entire run to the end. I can certainly understand the emotion if he thought Hunter was the car he needed to beat for that extra cash and came up just shy.
Yeah, I would feel the same way, especially when there's money on the line.
I can understand, yeah. I do want to give a big shout out to Harpoon Design, Sparks Builders, Dark Star Garage, and the National Oval Racing Association for making these broadcasts possible this entire season. There you see some of the fireworks, literal and figurative, here from Bristol right at the end of the race. What a great night here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Fantastic race once again. 12 cautions, a little better than in the spring it sounds like, and a great way to try to cap this regular season off these next couple of weeks. California, Richmond, a great run here at Bristol, had a good race at Michigan. I think we're in for a couple more coming up these next couple of weeks. Yeah, I'm excited to go through the motions here at the back end of the regular season. And Zach, there you have it. The next few broadcasts here on the Pit Stop TV side. Tomorrow night, BRB race 17 of 18. And boy, we are that close to crowning a champion. Adam Buzzio won the CC's Business Busy Bee 266 at Talladega last week. That changes the whole game up. Suddenly, Dustin Stallings has a whole lot of a tighter gap back to Adam Buzzio and everybody else for the championship. So Echo Park / Atlanta tomorrow, that is going to be must-watch entertainment, at least for the BRB.
Absolutely. I think that's going to be a no-skip kind of race for a lot of drivers. You got to be able to tune in for that one and see just how close the title fight is getting for the BRB Sundance Pro Series. I will say I am pretty locked into that one. It's going to be a good fight. It is very much going to be a good fight. But definitely a lot of places to follow along here on Pit Stop TV. You can always follow along with pitstoptv.com. You can also go to facebook.com/pitstoptv, instagram.com/pit_stop_TV. There's always the Discord link that you can join the Pit Stop TV Discord and join in on all the great things we've got going on here at Pit Stop TV. TikTok.com/pitstoptv1, twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, and youtube.com/pitstoptv1. So many great things going on, and I'm super excited for it.
And a big thank you to our partners as well here on the Pit Stop TV side. Whiplash Simcams, MX-Wraps.com, ATVO, Murder Esports, CC's Business, the North American Racing League, Whiplash Creative, and TZO Designs helping us make these broadcasts happen. Another great one here from the last great Coliseum. Bristol absolutely never disappoints. Tonight, no different. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all in the next one, hopefully, for BRB tomorrow night from Echo Park. Otherwise, we'll see you for the next NORA race next Monday. That'll be at California. We'll see you there.